It is that time. We are here. It is draft season. The draft is underway. It's something we've all anticipated, and now the Carolina Panthers are on the clock. Everyone says the draft doesn't begin until Houston comes on the clock because they have a lot of decisions, and everyone anticipates that the Carolina Panthers will select Bryce Young. But all we know is this will be a very exciting draft, and it's going to be intense, I believe. There's going to probably be a lot of movements, a lot of trades, and it's going to be interesting to see how all of this unfolds. Right now, they're just breaking down everyone and going through the quarterbacks because that's going to be the main discussion in the top 10 right now when you got Bryce Young, who's the projected number one overall. What's going to happen with CJ Stroud? Everyone's thinking maybe he'll go to Houston or maybe he'll take a little fall. Maybe the Titans will trade up for him. It's going to be very interesting to see how that breaks down. And then you got Anthony Richardson, the raw material guy, and then Will Levis. These quarterbacks will all probably go within the top 10. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how that goes. And then there's all these defensive players, the young studs and Will Anderson and Tyree Wilson. Houston, I think the draft's going to start with Houston. And then when it gets to number 3 to Arizona, that's when everything gets crazy because I believe the Cardinals could trade their pick. Right now they're just focusing on they're not even focusing on Carolina. I think we all know Bryce Young's going there. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do next at number 2, which makes sense because once it gets to 2 is probably when the draft begins. So it's going to be very fun to see how that all unfolds. Chiefs Kingdom is definitely flooding the draft. That's good. We all knew that was going to happen, definitely with it being held in Kansas City, but that is a good turnout. I don't know if you guys heard the national anthem. Of course, they showed up when home of the Chiefs. That was also very, very cool to see. It's funny how Twitter always gets the updates before everyone. They say that Bryce Young has already been selected. I watching it now, I don't know if it's different than usual. I They're not even showing the clock. I know it's 10 minutes adjusted from 15. They've changed that from prior years past. But they used to show the clock and when it starts counting down. That should be underway at the moment. We're past 8 o'clock Eastern, so I'm assuming the Panthers are on the clock. I'm just waiting for that selection to come in. And the big news today that everyone probably saw too was Lamar Jackson finally signed his deal. He didn't get that fully guaranteed deal, but he became the richest quarterback in the league so far. So kudos to him. Good for him. We all knew that he was eventually going to re-sign with the Ravens. I thought anything could have went down afterwards because you never know with how long this was going on. and all the debacle that was going with it seemed like it was going in a negative way. Um, but he's under contract now. They're also discussing DeAndre Hopkins trade rumors that they might be after him, or the Chiefs, of course. They could be after him as well. There was a wild rumor that the Tennessee Titans are thinking about trading up and also acquiring DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if that would be a great fit for DeAndre Hopkins, but hey, he doesn't really have a say in it. The Cardinals have his rights, so if they want to trade him to the Tennessee Titans and have a future quarterback in CJ Stroud, because that looks like that may be the destination if the Tennessee Titans trade up, I think they're going to be someone to keep your eyes out for is the Titans, because they look like they really, really want a quarterback, and they're going to have three to choose from. I'll tell you what, the draft already kicking off, and the main thing that's playing mostly is commercials. You think they'd have more coverage through it, but it's like the Super Bowl, I guess. You're paying for a slot because everyone's watching the draft. Come on, Carolina. Announce that pick. You're going to eat up all 10 minutes, aren't you? Okay, I think unless they're just coming out and announcing the start of the draft, they might be announcing the first overall pick. Yeah, Eric Stone Street and the commissioner up there. I don't know if it sounds like they're just kicking off the draft. So maybe he'll say Carolina is on the clock, which I thought that kicked off right at the top of the hour, but I I guess not. Oh, dope. They're bringing out Dante Hall and Will Shields. That's really cool. I don't know if they're going to be just talking or announcing a pick. I still don't know if this is the introduction or not to any of this. They're just having everyone come to the mic. Will Shields is rocking that gold jacket, looking good, that Hall of Fame jacket. Oh, what? Oh, that's really cool. Now they got Mahomes and Kelsey coming out, and Mahomes is holding the Lombardi. Okay, that surprised me a little bit. They're basically just giving a warm welcome to everyone in Kansas City, having everybody come out. That's really dope. You have the older stars, and now you got the current players, the legends coming out. That's really cool. I don't know if they ever done that before. I know the draft last year was in Vegas. I don't know if they introduced any Raider players coming out. Of course, I didn't really focus on it like that. But this is really cool to see your own team being represented very well. Yeah, Kelsey a fool. Kelsey, he gonna have a life after the NFL. He gonna be in the media spotlight. That's for sure. He can. He can definitely be on the mic all night if he need to be. Wow. Okay. So the draft literally started at 8:10. Okay. So hopefully now Carolina is officially on the clock. Now I see the countdown that I was waiting for. And hopefully they don't take all 10 minutes because we all know who they want. They should get their future quarterback in Bryce Young. I think what's going to be interesting is, can Bryce Young be the best quarterback to ever be a Carolina Panther? And that's saying a lot because if everyone remembers when they drafted Cam Newton, I think Cam Newton was that guy. And then unfortunately, it went downhill from there. But man, he took them to a Super Bowl. And I believe that's what the Carolina Panthers want to hope for with Bryce Young, is to go to the Super Bowl and win one. So they're going to expect a lot from him. And Carolina's got kind of a sneaky team. They got really good young depth there, and they got a good coach too. So I expect to see them turn it around. And you play in a weaker division with the Buccaneers, who don't have Tom Brady. We don't know what the Saints are going to be, even though they have Derek Carr now. And then Atlanta, they're another team with a young roster, but we don't know what to make out of it because Atlanta, they look like they have all the potential in the world, and then they always tend to stumble. So if Bryce Young can be the guy for Carolina, they can be in contention as early as this year. I would still probably take New Orleans to take that division, but that division is so wide open. Y'all better not take all 10 minutes. We know who it is. They're showing Bryce Young right now. He ain't on the phone yet. But they could have had that discussion prior to. So, and that's what they're talking about right now. They're talking about that division and how wide open it is. Literally, like Bryce Young could come in and take this team to the playoffs. Win a game in the playoffs. I don't know about all that, but take him there. Yeah, he can easily win this division. It's wide open. And they've added good pieces. Miles Sanders, DJ Chark, Adam Thielen. They will have a good crew around Bryce Young. I know there was also rumors that Will Levis could have been taken number one on like a Reddit report. That would be the shocker of the draft. Kick it off right away and surprise everyone. No one would expect Will Levis to be number one. I honestly expect him to be the fourth quarterback taken. I know there's rumors he could be the second, that the Colts really, really love him, but we'll just have to see how that all unfolds. I remember how quick time changes as well. I think what it was a couple of weeks ago when everyone was guaranteeing CJ Stroud would be the number one overall quarterback, but then testing reports come out and now CJ Stroud might go lower in the draft. They got Bryce Young standing up now. Well, sat back down. I spoke way, way too soon. Just man, announce it. Let's get this draft going. There's 6 minutes left on the clock still for Carolina. They gonna eat it all. They gonna eat it all probably. I know Twitter always beats everyone to the punch, so let's see if they have actually announced it yet and media networks be behind because that's typically what it is. I'm not seeing nothing yet. So, I mean, we all expect the pick to be Bryce Young as it should be, but Carolina taking their time. They just chilling. Come on, just flip it. Say the pick is in. Okay, they cheering in the draft room now. I think they turning in they pick. They all clapping. It should be what we all anticipate. It should be Bryce Young. Yeah, let's do make this pick. Oh, okay. Hmm. They're just talking about former number one overall picks on the NFC. What is it? East? No, not East. South would have two quarterbacks picked number one overall, with now Baker supposedly being the starting quarterback for the Buccaneers going into next year. And now you got Carolina, who looks like, and we're all assuming, could take Bryce Young. And it just turned in saying the pick is in. So we should hear for the commissioner any second now. It has been made though. They are already saying it that Bryce Young has been selected. So of course, Twitter is always gonna be the NFL media mainstream at this. Oh, what's up, everyone? No, I do not live in KC. I actually, at the beginning of the year, I just moved to Florida and previously lived in Vegas. So don't live in KC. It's already showing that the Texans are on the clock. We're just waiting for the commission to come up and announce Bryce Young because that's what it should be. It it would definitely be amazing to be there. Definitely right now too in the draft. That atmosphere looks so much fun to be in. Like Chiefs Kingdom showed out completely. Like they're at least 90% of the crowd. That would definitely be a fun experience to go through the whole weekend. Watch my YouTube TV just be slow right now. And I'm just getting the updates slower than everyone. I feel like this pick has been made a little bit ago. But here's the commissioner. And there it is. What we all expected. Bryce Young is the number one overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. I think that's a solid. I think he's going to be a solid quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. I literally, like I mentioned, he can come in year one and lead this team to the playoffs. It's one of the weakest, if not weakest, divisions in the league. And Carolina has added some nice pieces. I know the biggest question mark everyone has around him is his height, and it can be concerning for most QBs, but we've also seen QBs at 6 foot, even 5'11, be successful in this league with Russell Wilson before he became a Bronco and Drew Brees. So I wouldn't count against him. He does look small though. You can see it. But also last year, Carolina was trying to build a line as well. They drafted a lineman early on, Icky. They're trying to get the pieces correct. So they're a young team. They'll go through their hiccups, but they'll get it right eventually. And I think the biggest key is you play in the NFC. And now with Rodgers leaving it, who is the best quarterback over there? It's literally wide open. Anyone can be successful in the NFC. I can see that. I don't know if I could compare him completely to Kyler. As for like mobility and movement wise, I don't think he would take all that risk that Kyler takes. Now, I completely understand the size aspect, but I don't know if he would put his body in jeopardy like Kyler. But I could be completely wrong too. Like as they're showing, he's a good pocket quarterback, which Kyler can be as well. But Kyler, he'll scramble and try to make a play, which can lead you into some trouble. Who is now I just got it stuck in my head. Who would be the I know I'm drawing a blank, but I'm trying to run through the quarterbacks in my head. Who would be the best one in the NFC? I know I'm missing someone. Jalen Hurts, which he deserves the money he got paid. But after Jalen, I can't. Dak, I know I'm missing someone. It can't be that slim over there. And that's what they're comparing. As you mentioned, they're showing Kyler Murray at 5'10, and then they're showing Russell Wilson at 5'10 as well. All right, this is when they said the draft started. It's Houston. Do they take their future quarterback, or does D'Amico Ryans play on that defensive side of the ball and stick with like a Will Anderson or even go with a Tyree Wilson? My gut really wants to say that they're going to go defense here, but it's going to be so hard to pass up quarterback. And not just because it's CJ Stroud, but also, man, you could be playing against CJ Stroud because the Colts might go after him. And now with the rumors that the Titans could trade up for him too, I don't know if you'd want to play him twice a year with the chip on his shoulder. Oh, hold up. Oh, he said that wrong. He said the Texans already made their selection, but I don't think that's the case. That's what I was trying not to miss out on. They did make their selection. Okay. Yep. They a little behind. But it's back-to-back quarterbacks. It looks like the Houston Texans did take CJ Stroud. So again, with all the rumors that were going on after his testing and that he was going to fall completely off the boards, I just I didn't really see that happening. And if he did fall, he may have fell to what, fifth or sixth, and someone would have traded up for him. I don't think it was that major. I think the major thing that could have been was definitely with the Houston Texans is he shares the same agent as Deshaun Watson, and you kind of don't know if you'd go down that route in the future. So I can get that more than the testing and why the Texans might not have chosen CJ Stroud, but it seems like they just went that direction. And so you will have back-to-back quarterbacks off the board. They're saying this is the pick that's going to change the whole entire draft with CJ Stroud, which I don't know if I would quite agree that. I think what could have changed the whole draft would have been if they would have went Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson because that has Stroud falling a little more and that puts teams in play specifically the Cardinals to be like, oh, now people can start trading with us and we can be able to trade back and put Titans in play to try to get their guy too. So I don't know if that changes the draft completely because this has been mocked like this for a majority of the whole offseason. They're gonna commissioner coming up. He about to announce the pick and let us all know it's CJ Stroud. And I think that's a good fit too. Again, Texans, they're in one of those young upcoming divisions with Jacksonville on the rise. We don't know what the Colts are going to be. We feel like we expect something from Indy every year, and then they fall flat, but they need a quarterback. They're sitting nice at 4. They should have one of the two guys there and see how that moves. And then the Tennessee Titans, they used to run that division, but it seems like things have taken a flip, and that's why they want their future quarterback too. That's why Texans, they can be in play next year for maybe the second place in that division. It just depends how it all pans out. I know with us, when we played them, they took us to OT. They play every team hard. Now that they have D'Amico Ryans in, a whole new coaching staff as well, try to find a way to make these close games into W's. And if they can do that, they'll be a way better team. They were already competitive. Now it's time to find a way to get those W's in. CJ Stroud hype. That's cool. I love seeing these players after they get drafted be so excited about it. It's a once in a lifetime moment for them. They deserve this. Now the main question is, will the Cardinals be able to trade their pick? It's going to be, I don't know. I don't know if they'll be able to trade out of the 3. And if they stay, I think they'll take Will Anderson, but I know they're trying their best to trade out of that. So it's going to be interesting to see. There's also been late buzz mentioning that the Eagles are trying to trade up. How high do the Eagles want to go? And who for? Are they trying to get a Will Anderson? Are they trying to get a Tyree Wilson? It's I don't know if the draft starts here and all the craziness, but the Cardinals are going to be a major factor if they're able to trade their pick. I know this was where the speculation began too with the Cardinals because everyone thought that, well, not thought, but the rumor started heating up saying that Tennessee was going to be the ones to trade up and they were going to put a package together that would involve DeAndre Hopkins going to Tennessee. But now that CJ Stroud is off the board, does Will Levis catch your eye like that? Does the Anthony Richardson catch your eye like that? I don't know. It just seemed like it was just for CJ Stroud. So do the Titans still want to trade up? Again, Cardinals, you hold all the cards. I know that if any team is going to take the 10 minutes, it's going to be the Cardinals to try to get out of that 3rd spot. I love it. CJ Stroud, yeah, he seems serious. He seemed motivated. You could tell he heard the talk all the few weeks about his draft status, how it could drop, and how he may not be the number 2 overall pick. You could see it in his eyes. This meant something huge to him. I believe he will be good in the NFL. I know the big question surrounding these guys when it comes towards going in the NFL is, can these Ohio State guys, quarterbacks, translate to the NFL? And we still got that question mark surrounding Justin Fields. Are they able to, is he able to take the next step? Because a lot of people look at him as, oh, he's just a running quarterback. He's got to get the passing techniques down, but I think he's successful. I think CJ Stroud will be successful. They'll turn it around. Oh, now, yeah, oh, that's cool. Yeah, now CJ Stroud getting very emotional. It's cool to see these players go through that type of moment. This is something they fought for their whole life. That's cool to see. And definitely now when you have a chip on your shoulder and everyone was doubting you, definitely CJ Stroud, yeah. And also, like I mentioned, that division, they're going to stack up with these young quarterbacks now. You got Trevor Lawrence, you now got CJ Stroud. We don't know what the Tennessee Titans are going to do, but it seems like they want to move forward without Tannehill. And also, seems like already the Malik Willis era is already over, which is so crazy to think. Like, I know he was what, a third, fourth round pick, but at the end of the day, it's like you didn't even give him a chance. But it seems like they're done with him too. And then we are all anticipating the Indianapolis Colts to take a quarterback. So that's going to be a lot of young guns in that division. And it looks like Trevor Lawrence is going to be leading the way. That's going to be a fun division to watch. And I'm also very excited to see how D'Amico Ryans does next year too. First time head coach. I think that was a cool story to line up as well. Is going to a team you played with. Now you're a head coach. That's a cool storyline in itself. I was hoping he was going to bring in JJ Watt as a defensive coordinator. That'd be full circle. Whoa. Wow, the Houston Texans just took a quarterback and they just traded with the Cardinals, so they're back on the clock. Whoa, so they might get Will Anderson or Tyree. Whoa. None of us saw that coming. None of us saw the Texans taking back to back. That's a way to basically give your team a revamp. Get your quarterback and then get your leader on defense. Whether it be Will Anderson or Tyree Wilson, D'Amico Ryans and crew double dipping in the top 5. I wonder what it cost them. Wow. Hold up. I got to see the pick before they announce it. They selected Will Anderson. That's cool for Houston. They got the best player in the draft ranked, and now they got their franchise quarterback. D'Amico Ryans hitting out of the park. And I know it's mostly the GM and scouting, but I'm gonna give it to D'Amico Ryan. I told you the shocks would start coming in at pick number 3. And Arizona was able to trade, but where was Houston's pick at? Number 12? Yeah, 12. They they might have had to trade next year's one. I don't, because that's a bit from 12 to 3 in the top 3 too. Huh. I know someone got to have a breakdown of this trade already. Come on, where you at? I know someone got a breakdown of this trade. I ain't seeing no breakdowns of the trade at the moment. That's cool. That was honestly a stunner for me. I did not see the Texans going back to back. They get their guy on offense and defense. That's cool. That's cool. It's Will Anderson. Yep. Now the Indianapolis Colts are on the clock. Is it going to be Richardson? Is it going to be Levis? I would probably take Richardson. I know he's more of a raw material, and you have to have him on the bench. That's why you got Gardner Minshew. I don't know how many games Minshew can win for you, but he can pull through, and maybe you get another high draft pick next year to put more weapons around Richardson. But I can also see him liking Levis a lot too, and he could be more of a day one starter. It's just there's more potential with Richardson. That's crazy though. I okay, so the Texans traded pick 12, 33, and next year's first round pick for the Cardinals, pick 3 and pick 105. So 105, I believe, is a third round pick this year. So they got another pick this year, Arizona gets another pick next year, which is huge, and pick 33 and pick 12. That's huge for Arizona because everyone's already expecting Arizona to be the worst team next year, and they could be in the Caleb Williams running. So stockpile those picks and try to rebuild that team. I'm still impressed with the Texans. I know this draft is young, and I know they just made the pick, but that's crazy to see. They literally got their day one quarterback, and now they got their game changing pass rusher. And hey, they always say, well, definitely in the division like the Kansas City Chiefs playing, the way you try to beat Patrick Mahomes is you don't want to get in a scoring contest with them. So add the pieces on the defense, go after the passer, have defensive backs, and maybe that's what Houston is thinking here is Trevor Lawrence is up and coming. To beat him, we got to bring him down, and I love it. The Texans got themselves a playmaker in Will Anderson. He is going to be a game changer. Let's see if the Colts have done anything yet. Some people going in on the Texans right now for trading all that for Will Anderson. I think after a quarterback, the most how do I want to say it? The next position I would prioritize heavily, and I know Chiefs Kingdom agrees, is pass rusher. You want to have a guy to bring the quarterback down. So I don't think it's too ridiculous. And if you feel Will Anderson is the next coming of like a Khalil Mack and one of the best pass rushers in the league, you go get your guy. So I can't be upset with it. And it looks like the Colts pick is in. What quarterback did they select? Come on, tell me. Tell me before they tell me. Twitter, you always good at it. They the Colts went with what I wanted them to do. Okay, they went with Anthony Richardson. That's dope. He's going to be a project, but man, the dude got all the tools. That's why you have Gardner Minshew. Literally, he's not going to take you to the playoffs, probably. He's not going to do much. He might give you another top 10 pick next year to where you add another piece for Richardson. And who knows? You may play Richardson at the end of the season to see what he's about. And then you go into 2024 with your future quarterback. I love it. Like, I think he's got the most upside than any quarterback in this draft. He's probably got the lowest floor too, but hey, high risk, high rewards. And I think Richardson's worth that. And he does have weapons. It's just the weapons didn't even we don't look at we don't look at the Colts weapons like weapons because of what they did last year, whether that be an example of Carson Wentz or coaching. It just did not look good because we all expected a lot. And I know we talked down about the Colts, but they handed us a loss early in the season, which is still hard to get over. Feels like the Chiefs do that every year where we have one unfortunate loss. But they got Michael Pittman Jr. They have Jonathan Taylor still. I believe they have another wide receiver too that I'm not clicking in right away. They got weapons, maybe not top end, but build around them. That's dope. So 3 out of the first 4 picks are quarterbacks. We knew these quarterbacks were gonna fly. I knew these 4 weren't gonna last in the top 10. I don't even think Levis will either. I think Levis has the most potential to slide a little bit. I just don't know if it'll be out of the top 10. I believe someone's gonna trade up for him. This is gonna be interesting. Who now? I don't think Seattle's going after him. They got Geno. If they wanted a quarterback, it would have been Richardson. That way you could put him behind Geno for a year, and then you got your future. I don't know if they view Will Levis like that, though. I'm trying to think who would be next up. Could the Raiders do that? Like, I don't know. The Commanders, they might trade up and do it. Levis might actually slide the more and more I think about it, because you got teams like the Bucks, Minnesota. They have Kirk Cousins 1 year left on his contract. That's later in the draft. So it's going to be interesting to see where Levis goes. Now I'm thinking, I don't know if he will make, he might slide out of the top 10, but Seattle's on the board. I think you either go after, you definitely stay on the D line. Maybe you go after Jalen Carter, who's had an unfortunate offseason to where he can slide down boards, and then, or you can go after Tyree Wilson. You add that power on your defensive line. So I'm just watching these Anthony Richardson highlights. The dude he's different. He's got the body stature of a Cam Newton. And then he caught everybody's eyes when on that combine. He went berserk in the combine. The Colts got themselves a playmaker. It may not translate this year, but that's what you have patience for. And this is something the Colts needed to do, because literally every year they were just rotating out of quarterbacks. Now you got your guy. See what it's about, and I think he's going to be good. They've been looking for a guy since Andrew Luck. Okay. I could see it. He views himself as a combination of Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson. The raw footage is there. He just got to put all the tools together. He's got a lot of work to do, but I believe he can do it. He's got to have the right coaches too. At the end of the day, that's all that matters. That's why Patrick Mahomes became great in an instant. He always had the tools, but when you have coaching that puts it all together in an instant, it's a beautiful thing. And who is the? Oh yeah, the Colts' new coach is the Phillies' former offensive coordinator, right? Yeah. So, and now Seattle, they got 4 minutes on the clock. I believe they gonna bolster that defensive line. It's just gonna be. I can see Seattle trading out of this pick, because they were a playoff team last year, so they can add a superior talent, but they also can add picks and bolster throughout with youth around this draft. What's up, Adam? How you doing, man? Enjoying this draft? It's just underway. It's gonna get crazy. It already has gotten crazy with the Texans. I wonder if the Seahawks have already. I know I'm probably behind everybody. Ian Rappaport just said the phones are ringing in Seattle. That sounds like someone is trying to trade up, whether it be for one of these quarterbacks. People are saying Hendon Hooker now could be taken earlier than expected. I don't know about all that, but you still got Levis and Hooker. I don't view them as top 10 guys, but when all those quarterbacks start flying off the board, teams might make a desperate pick. I don't know if Seattle's picking here now. That's going to be interesting. I hate that they got commercials during the draft. They really don't need them. Come on. Well, while we go to break, let's see if Seattle actually made a trade or made a selection because it only showed they had like 2 minutes left on the clock anyway. So actually, yeah, exact a minute 55. So they're either trying to get rid of this pick and they're going to eat up all that clock, or they're going to make a selection. I kind of want to lean towards they might get rid of the pick. I don't know. Yeah, nothing yet on the Seahawks. Yeah, it's crazy how quick we all knew that this draft was going to be wild, and it was with anticipation, which is funny too because coming into this draft, and we heard from all the NFL analysts and things like that was, oh, this draft doesn't have the depth and that they don't have a lot of A+ talented players. But then you hear, oh, there's going to be a lot of trade action, a lot of activities, a lot of rumors going around. It's funny how it doesn't seem like those two things would mesh, but here we are. There's going to be a lot of trades. Also, keep your eyes out for players that can be traded. Like there's the DeAndre Hopkins rumors. Now there's Chase Young, Montez Sweat, and you never know. We could have that surprise player. Last year, we didn't anticipate that AJ Brown was going to be traded. If the right deal is made, a player might come out of nowhere and be going to a new team. Seattle's pick is in. It seems like they made a selection. All right, Twitter, do your work since NFL Network is on commercial. I guess Ian is actually kind of surprised too that the Seahawks are making a pick. He said they're actually making this pick. They must have not got the deal they wanted to get out of that pick. Whoa. Okay, that might be the first shocker, but not really. I thought the Seattle Seahawks were going to bolster the defensive line, either go with Tyree Wilson or go with Jalen Carter. It's looking like they selected cornerback out of Illinois, Devin Witherspoon. Now, I like it. They have a young secondary already. They aced the draft last year with their secondary, and now they're going to add a top 5 pick, another cornerback. I see what I almost forgot his name. What Pete Carroll is doing. He's trying to go back to the old days where he had the Legion of Boom, and he's trying to create it again. You got a young core stud. I see what you're doing. I don't even know if a lot of people thought that the Seahawks were going to take a cornerback. I saw a lot of defensive line picks. I did not see Seattle taking Witherspoon. So that might be your first mini surprise of this draft. And also, what happened too? Witherspoon's stock started shooting up. I remember it used to be the cornerback out of Oregon, Gonzalez, that was going to be the guaranteed number 1 cornerback out of this draft, which now that could get interesting too because the Raiders need a cornerback so bad, and they were projected to get one of these guys, but one of these guys went earlier than anticipated. So now the Raiders might get screwed out of a guy because Detroit needs a cornerback too, and they're next on the clock. Hey, that's funny. You hear the whole NFL analyst crowd going, "Oh, I don't think a lot of people expected Witherspoon to go to Seattle." I like what Seattle's doing. I think they needed more on the D line or add on the offense, but the fact that they're adding a strength to one of their strong pieces on the defense, I understand it. I understand it. They're gonna be like, it's gonna be the no-fly zone. You guys aren't throwing on us whatsoever. What they had, Tariq Woolen, who basically he came out of nowhere. He was a stud, and his testing was off the charts last year. He was the guy I wanted the Chiefs to draft, and he ended up going to Seattle. Had a breakout year his rookie year, and they drafted Kobe Bryant too, right? So two young studs doing their thing in Seattle. Now you add a Witherspoon. Pete Carroll know what he's doing. Twitter be on something sometimes, I swear. Just talking about random teams. They comparing him to Denzel Ward, which was another cornerback who was selected early by the Browns, and actually one of the few draft picks that worked early because back then with the Browns, none of those draft picks were working. And Denzel Ward, he was one of those solid pieces on that team. Actually, I think still is. For a cornerback, Witherspoon knows how to lay out some dudes. He ain't afraid to tackle someone, and that fits what Seattle wants. They are trying to make that Legion of Boom again. Oh, just what I said too. Ian Rappaport just came up and said that Will Levis could take a slide now with the Colts and Seattle selection. Wow. And then Rappaport just said that if the Raiders don't take Jalen Carter at 7, he will probably slide out of the top 10. And that was one of the most questionable things that Jalen Carter has done. Well, him and his agent is saying, we're not going to take any visits from teams outside of the top 10, which led everyone to believe it's like, okay, you might fall out of the top 10. Well, what happens from there? We all know what he's been going through this offseason and that he can take a potential slide. It's no question. The dude is a stud. He is probably one of the best players in this draft. But with the questions surrounding him, I don't know why he was guaranteeing himself a top 10. So I guess the team to watch is the Raiders. Levis may go to the Raiders. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes to the Raiders. Sit a year behind Jimmy Garoppolo. And honestly, if any quarterback was to go to the Raiders, I'd probably want Levis because I don't know. I don't see the drastic upside in how good he can be in the future. Everyone tries to compare him to a Josh Allen and because he hurdles and because he can throw a very deep ball, but I don't know if you can just say that's going to translate to the next level. Like it took a lot for Josh Allen to become who he was. People forgot when Josh Allen came in the league, he struggled right away. He wasn't Josh Allen. It took him a minute. So for people to say that's what Will Levis is going to be, I don't know about all that. So I'd feel comfortable if the Raiders took him. And I feel like that would be a reach for the Raiders too, because you got Jimmy G right now, and you got other huge questions on your team that you can address in the top 10 besides quarterback. But the Raiders are known to do that type of thing. Oh, we got a trade. Who was on the clock? Was it the Lions? The Cardinals just traded back into the top 10. The Cardinals getting Jalen Carter. Or the Cardinals are either going to get Tyree Wilson or Jalen Carter because that's probably the guy they wanted at 3. And they're like, we just got these draft capital from Houston. Now let's use it to get back in the top 10, and we're still going to get our guy. I love what these top 10 teams are doing. They're moving around and trying to help their team out. I believe the Arizona Cardinals, they're going to go Tyree Wilson. Watch I be wrong. Twitter, tell me I'm wrong. And they didn't even give up much. So the trade with the Lions, the Cardinals got the 6th pick. They gave up the 12th and they gave up the 34th, which is basically almost a top end, like a back end first round pick, an early second round pick. But that's not as much as what the Texans had to give up, even though that was a pretty more steeper drop. I wonder they can get anybody. Arizona got their guy. I forgot about that. I don't know if they had to trade up here. They got the first offensive lineman off the board, Paris Johnson Jr. out of Ohio State. That's been the rumor this whole draft was Arizona loved him. They just knew they couldn't take him at 3. You take him at 6. Makes sense. It makes perfect sense, actually. And you just try to solidify this O-line. Is it for Kyler Murray? Is it for Caleb Williams in the future? This year will tell us everything we need to know. And a lot of people will say this is going to be probably a reach for a guy like Paris Johnson. But at the end of the day, a lot of NFL scouts and a lot of GMs only had Paris Johnson as the only rated left. I phrased that wrong. As only first round grade on a left tackle. There we go. So if he's your only graded left tackle, you go solidify your left side. And you didn't even give up much for him. You literally only gave up the 34th because you still picked in the first round. I love all this action that's going on in the top 10. Oh, that's dope. Paris Johnson is so hyped. He was going nuts. That's cool to see. That's cool to see. And now the Raiders are the Raiders on the clock now? The Raiders actually had the board kind of fall in a nice way. They can go quarterback. They got Tyree Wilson, which I wouldn't expected him to fall this far. And if they want to, I know a lot of I know the Raiders have Chandler Jones and Max Crosby, but even though you signed Chandler Jones, he didn't look like who he was with the Cardinals. So you might as well put youth. Now, the Raiders don't think like me, so they'll probably go in a different route. They might draft a player none of us heard before. That's what the Raiders do. That's crazy. So that was not a smokescreen whatsoever. When those reports came out saying that the Cardinals wanted Paris Johnson Jr., they traded back, they traded up, and they got their left tackle for the future. That's cool. He literally just kind of tackled the commissioner. You don't know with the Raiders. You really don't know with the Raiders. Like we can think the logical picks. We can think Tyree Wilson, go for it. Jalen Carter, even though he's got the questions, he can be a top 5 defensive tackle in this league if everything he does gets right. They'll do something. Honestly, I know their biggest hole has been defensive back, and I would go that way. I'd go with Christian Gonzalez. You're going against Patrick Mahomes. You're going against Justin Herbert and Russell Wilson. Everyone anticipates to have a bounce back year. Everyone dissects the Raiders cornerbacks. Raiders, go get yourself a cornerback. Will they do that? Probably not. That's why I'm not coaching them. They're saying Kyler Murray wanted offensive line help. We know. We saw you get hit a lot last year. Oh, so that's what the rumors was, which the Raiders needed that too. That the Raiders were probably going to select Paris Johnson Jr., which they need O-line as well. So makes sense to me that they would have went that route. I think the Raiders need to go cornerback here. It would be the smart move. But you got Josh McDaniels. You got, I don't even know who their GM is now. The Raiders staying quiet right now. I don't believe the Raiders trade out of this pick. I believe they make a selection. Everyone's just saying what we talked about. Can't wait for the Raiders to draft Levis. If they really do, that'd be the funniest thing. We don't know what Levis is going to be in the NFL. So he could be really good, but I don't think that's a solid fit. And I think that's definitely a reach in the top 10. Oh, yeah, that's going to be fun. Once they announce the Raiders pick, Chiefs Kingdom going to be loud. Those boos are going to be crazy. Still nothing on the Raiders. I don't even see the clock moving for the Raiders. I don't know what's going on with it. Unless they already, but it usually says the pick is in. It just shows round one, pick 7. They ain't making no action right now. Also, could be a surprise if the Raiders, another good pick. If you liked Paris Johnson so much, the number one offensive lineman to be mocked early was Peter Skoronsky. Even though most NFL scouts have him as a guard, a lot think he could be a left tackle too. I guess it's just where the Raiders view him. But that pick is in. Here it comes. This is what the Raiders going to do. I'd go Gonzalez. I would definitely go Gonzalez. Levis doesn't look like he was selected here. So, all right, Twitter. Let me know before Rich does. The Raiders did something smart. I'll give him kudos for it. Tyree Wilson was sliding, so they went and got him. It makes sense. I think any logical team would have done that. Tyree Wilson was at highest supposed to be projected the number 2 overall pick. Now he's at the Raiders at 7. Like, that's solid. A lot of people will look at, oh, they got Chandler Jones last year at a high price, but he didn't prove to be what he used to be. And you don't just hope that he's going to become something. So at the end of the day, you go get your future pass rusher with Max Crosby and you dominate offensive lines. That kind of upsets me they got him, that they actually made a good pick, but got to give credit to where it's due. Oh, damn. Adam, thank you. I really appreciate that. I appreciate the super chat a lot. Do I think the Chiefs are moving up or staying where they are? I think it depends. I really do. So as of the last 2 weeks, the hot name has been Zay Flowers, the wide receiver out of Boston College. If Zay Flowers passes New England at 12, which that's another team that a lot of people really are expecting him to get drafted, and he falls in that 15 to 18 range, I could see the Kansas City Chiefs trading up. Now, I think there's going to be a few players they have their eyes on. It sounded like it's been mostly wide receivers with Zay Flowers. The reports came in today with Quentin Johnston as well. I'm not the biggest Quentin Johnston fan, but in Andy Reid's system, I know he could pull the most out of a wide receiver. I just feel like Zay Flowers would be your immediate impact starter day one. And then there's those crazy rumors and reports that a lot of Chiefs Kingdom isn't happy about with Jahmyr Gibbs, that the Kansas City Chiefs could trade up for him. I think if it's a trade up for Gibbs and if they're really interested in him, I think it'd be like from 31 to ahead of the Cowboys. And if none of those players on the board, they stay put at 31 and get the best player available. Again, I really appreciate it, Adam. Thank you. I'm kind of upset that the Raiders got him. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know many mock drafts that had the Raiders taking Tyree Wilson or Tyree Wilson even falling that far. So now here comes the big speculation is what Ian mentioned. Jalen Carter, if he passes the Raiders, he could slide out of the top 10. We'll find how true that is now because a lot of people have him being selected by the Eagles, but Eagles have been rumored for multiple players, whether it be Carter, whether it be his teammate and Nolan Smith, or can they take a top 10 running back in Bijan Robinson, which the league better watch out. I know you don't take running backs early, but if Bijan Robinson is with the Eagles, it makes sense. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, who cares if he's a running back? The Eagles are a running team, and they would dominate the NFC again. Who's on the clock? Is it Atlanta? I think Atlanta just got in prime position right here. That's funny. I know we're still in the top 10, and there's still a lot of good players on the board, of course, but the board is shaping up for certain teams. Like, literally, the Atlanta Falcons, they can add a DB again to pair up with AJ Terrell on the other side. Gonzalez is still available. Maybe they like Jalen Carter too. Who knows? I'm I'm enjoying this draft. It's been crazy. It's crazy. We're an hour in, and it feels like it's been so long, and we're still in the top 10. Like, it's ridiculous. But the top 10 has been what? How many trades have we had? Two, three? I think three. Yeah. I can't even keep track. And then we've already had three quarterbacks taken. This top 10, they anticipated this was going to be a crazy draft, and it's living up to those expectations. Man, Tyree Wilson almost took out Roger Goodell. Basically body slammed him. Falcons, Bears, Eagles, Titans. Titans are another team where they can affect the Kansas City Chiefs draft plan as well. If the Kansas City Chiefs really want to go wide receiver, Tennessee, I don't believe Kansas City is going to trade up that high, but Tennessee will be the first team to take a wide receiver off the board, whether it be Jackson Smith and Jigba, whether it be Zay Flowers. That was also another team where Zay Flowers had meetings with, and they told him, you better get used to Nashville. But then reports came out saying that they really want a quarterback. So Tennessee is a very interesting team to see how that all breaks down. Atlanta's pick is in. I'm curious to see what the Falcons do. Twitter actually ain't got it at the moment. That's funny too. Patrick Mahomes just tweeted Tyree Wilson and said, "Hey, take it easy on me, big dog." Former Texas Tech alumni. It makes sense. That's funny. That's cool to see. I'm pretty sure Patrick Mahomes will find a way to get away from him. Atlanta did it. Atlanta took a running back in the top 10, Bijan Robinson. I like it. I do. I think he fits Atlanta well too. I think Atlanta's got all these young studs. Like you got Kyle Pitts, who for 2 years now we've been hoping for something, and we've been hoping coaching can get it right. They have Drake London, and now you had Bijan Robinson. Your question is Desmond Ritter your quarterback of the future? They're trying to get these young pieces in. I would have liked Bijan Robinson more with the Eagles because it just would have made it so unfair. But I could see him with the Falcons, and he can easily be rookie of the year with the Falcons too. I've been hearing that a lot too, Adam. I've been hearing Addison a lot. And I think what's funny with Addison, and I do love Addison a lot. I think Addison, what he's got most over anyone, his route running. It's filthy. He's amazing. He knows how to get away from a defender like it is nothing. He is smooth, he is silky. I think to me it's either or. I think if the Kansas City Chiefs want to view in trying to find a Tyreek replacement, they will look towards Zay Flowers because Zay Flowers does look like a Tyreek out there. Honestly, at this point of Zay Flowers' young career coming out of college, I think he's more developed than Tyreek in just the way he attacks the ball. But Jordan Addison too, I would love either or on this team. Like if I have it ranked right now, I think you have JSN, Jackson Smith, and Jigba as your clear cut number one wide receiver. And then you have a toss up between Addison and Flowers. And then that's when it gets a little interesting to me. Do you want a Quentin Johnston? People will mention Jalen Hyatt. I'm not the hugest fan of it. If the Chiefs do draft him, of course, I will support it, and I believe he'll be explosive. But after those three guys, I believe that's when the gap starts. And if you don't get one of those three elite receivers, you might want to stay placed where you are if you're focused on a wide receiver. I'm that's crazy. That Bijan Robinson. It's funny all the stuff you hear. Like you should never take a running back in the top 10, and you just don't think it's going to happen. But it happens year in and year out, and it's not every year. But if the talent's there and the dude is a stud, you deserve to be drafted early. I think you need to hold up. Oh, that's cool. They have big brothers, big sisters up here to announce the Falcons pick. That's cool. That's what caught my attention real quick. That's why I had to get it quick off guard. But again, like when Chiefs Kingdom got crazy, when the Jameer Gibbs reports came out, I get it. You're not supposed to take a running back in round one, but if they view him as a playmaker and more than a running back where you can use as a receiving weapon and that can be an immediate impact starter, I could see it. Rich Eisen just basically said what I said. He's like the Falcons did it. Yeah, it's rare to see, even though it seems like it happens occasionally, to see a running back going in the first round. And he may not be the only running back drafted in round one tonight. Like I keep mentioning, Jameer Gibbs. I don't know if he'll be a Chief. I know Chiefs Kingdom would lose their minds, but the Bengals may need a running back. Eagles, you lost possibly your guy. They may make a play with one of their later picks for Jameer Gibbs as well. That's crazy. Best believe Atlanta's going to give Robinson the ball. If you believe and play fantasy football, he better be one of your first round picks. Who on the board now? The Bears. The Bears. I think they're every mock draft you see has them taking Peter Skoronsky. So that would be the flipped script if they don't take him. But they need O line. They need protection for Justin Fields. There's no if, ands, or buts about it. You can't question Justin Fields and be like, he is not a good quarterback. He doesn't know how to throw the ball. If you don't get a dude time to throw the ball and you don't give him weapons, it's a little bit of you too. So you better build a line for him. So I expect Peter Skoronski to be picked here. Damn, they comparing Bijan Robinson to Edgerrin James? Whew. That's why you take a running back in the top 10 if he gets those type of comparisons. Now I know running backs have the shorter lifespan and all that, but if you get a good 5 to 7 years out of him, it's all positive. I want to see more trades. Come on. I don't know if anyone's gonna trade in the top 10 now. I don't know what player would be out there to trade in the top 10 like that. Because right now you got Bears on the clock. Bears will get their linemen. Then Eagles. I don't know if someone would trade up for Jalen Carter or not, or they would just hope Jalen Carter falls in their lap. Maybe 10 is that spot where Eagles start fielding calls and they're like, hey, Jalen Carter's on the board. You want a defensive tackle? Come get him. But also, the Eagles they drafted the dude last year in the first round defensive tackle. So that's interesting. I don't know. I was going to say they lost Jerron Hargrave, so they can get a defensive tackle, but they just drafted one last year too that they compare with Fletcher Cox, even though Fletcher Cox is getting in the back end of his career. So I don't know. It's interesting. All the things that can go through your head in this draft. They did? Oh, damn. See what happens? My stream be live and be behind. I'm still listening to Bijan Robinson talking. I see the pick now. So thank you guys for keeping me up to date. They traded up one. I wonder, I never get that either, unless someone else was gonna jump ahead of them and trying to trade with the Bears. But they got their guy. They got Jalen Carter. And Jalen Carter, your agent, he was right. You wasn't falling out of the top 10. So it all worked out at the end of the day. And the Eagles, one of the reasons why they were so great last year, besides their ridiculous run game, that defensive line. Now they add a guy like Jalen Carter. Have fun, NFC. So that's what, 4 trades in the top 10? So what does that puts the Bears back on the clock, right? The Bears should make their the Bears should get their linemen then here. That's what I say. I question it too. People are like, why do you do a 1 pick trade up? And the only logical thing I could think about is that the Bears were in communications with someone else, and the Bears played their card right. They're like, hey, Eagles, we got someone going to trade ahead of you to get Jalen Carter. How bad do you want Jalen Carter? And they're like, oh, damn. Let's make it shake. Let's get this trade. Damn, now they still on Bijan Robinson right now. That's how far behind mine is. They're talking that Charles Davis is now comparing him to LT. He got some big shoes to fill. The comparisons are huge for Bijan Robinson. It's going to be exciting to see how he is in the NFL, though. Yeah, see, my screen still shows the pick is in. There ain't no way I'm that far behind. This is why I trust Twitter more than anything. You got to go there and then just see the picks. And it's crazy how much the draft has changed. I remember when I was a kid, and it wasn't this like big of a spectacle, but also you didn't have social media or anything like that. So you was just watching it, and the picks were happening and you was just done there. Now Twitter, social media, it all beats you to the punch. I'm curious when the reports come out on who was the team that wanted to trade ahead of the Eagles. Jordan Davis. There it is. Yeah, I know I was drawing a blank on his name and I didn't want to say it on the stream because I was like, who did they take last year? And I knew it was a guy who didn't come out of nowhere, but he was another one who killed the combine. And then he was drafted by the Eagles. And now the Eagles get back-to-back defensive tackles each year. Probably a future Fletcher Cox replacement. I don't know if Fletcher Cox is going to be his last year, but you got good depth on that defensive line, even after losing Jerron Hargrave. I still think the Eagles are the team to be in the NFC, specifically now that Aaron Rodgers is gone. But even if Aaron Rodgers was in the NFC, I don't know if the Packers can compete with them. And I think the Eagles are literally that next step better than everyone else in the NFC. I know people want to give Cowboys. For me, it's the Cowboys. They can always have a great regular season, but it don't mean much if you can't do nothing in the playoffs. And that's something they do every year. It's like, they're easily a 10 to 12 win team. And then once it comes playoff time, they fold. I don't know if there's a team that can really compete with the Eagles next year. I wouldn't be surprised to see them run it back. I know we talk about the Niners as well. The only thing with the Niners, they're always going to have one of the great solid defenses. And I guess they always have a good unit in place. They had the Mr. Irrelevant last year come in and send them to the NFC Championship game. But now there's reports he might not play next year. They might not have Trey Lance. I don't believe they're going to run with Sam Darnold next year. So that QB situation in San Fran is going to be so interesting to see how all of that breaks down. All right, did the Bears make their pick, guys? Because I ain't even there yet. They did. They did. Wow. Okay. I'm over here talking Peter Skoronski up. That's been the pick, like, for the majority of 2 months, that the Chicago Bears are going to take Peter Skoronski. Psych. Nope. They went Darnell Wright, right tackle, out of Tennessee. He actually had a visit with the Chiefs. It got Chiefs Kingdom hyped because that solidifies your right tackle, and you hope Jawan Taylor can make that transition, which we all do and which we all believe he will. But we're like, hey, get him. But what you're starting to see now is maybe a run on the offensive lineman. You had Paris Johnson to the Cardinals. Now you have Darnell Wright. Peter Skoronski still on the board. Who's next up? Tennessee? Tennessee. Is it Tennessee? Yeah. Tennessee is going to be interesting. They can go wide receiver. Maybe they go Will Levis here. Maybe they go lineman. It's going to be interesting with Tennessee. I hope they don't go wide receiver. I really hope. If they go wide receiver, they are definitely probably taking Zay Flowers, and that kills a dream for a lot of Chiefs Kingdom as well. I do believe, which might surprise a lot of people, I believe Zay Flowers will be the first wide receiver taken off the board. When will that be? I don't know. But for some reason, I feel like the hype has been more there for Zay Flowers than Jackson Smith-Njigba. I believe Jackson Smith-Njigba is the more complete wide receiver, but that hype around Zay Flowers has been there. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's what Tennessee is going to do here. It would kill a lot of Chiefs Kingdom's dreams, though, if that's what they do. Trying to see if we got any updates. I think the Tennessee Titans pick is going to be very interesting. I think it can have an impact on the draft in whatever position they go. If they go for their future quarterback, if they believe it's Levis, that's cool. Now, they can stick in the hometown as well, and they can trade back again to hope like maybe 18-20 range, and they can really believe in Hendon Hooker. And if that's the case, then that would be a homecoming story for Tennessee Titans. And as well, it has those wide receivers still falling. And I'm pretty sure Chiefs Kingdom and Brett Veach would be so happy with that to say, okay, this wide receiver board is shaking up. I know that Brett Veach is looking at this board like, okay, we can make a move between like 17 to 22. Let's see when these wide receivers start sliding and when they start getting picked. If it starts now, he's going to be like, oh, damn, that's early. But if it's like 16, 17, the board will shape up. That was a cool little speech by Jalen Carter. Very emotional. All these players are going to be at this moment. I swear, with how far behind I am, and I think it's just the media in general, all of us on social media. That is crazy. That's how crazy this draft is. I totally forgot about that, and that's what Rich Eisen just mentioned. The fact that we all forgot that the Chicago Bears initially held the number one overall pick, and now they're all the way to pick number 10. Like we all forgot about that. And now they're about to make the selection for Darnell Wright. Yeah, Adam, I am on YouTube TV. I know sometimes I can have a very bad lag. Yeah, that's why you need your phone in your hand to see all these picks and when they come in. That's one of the few occurrences where Twitter is gonna be your best friend and tell you what picks are coming up. What's crazy and what a lot of people didn't project in their mocks, and it may have happened later on, but again, no one projected Gonzalez to still be on the draft boards either. A lot of people thought he'd be selected by now. He might fall to Detroit, and that's where a lot of people had it. They had Detroit selecting him at pick 6. If Detroit gets him at pick 12, that would be solid for Detroit. And also, I could see Detroit taking a wide receiver too. With now they have Jamison Williams missing for half the year. They lost another wide receiver all because of betting going on. They can go. I wouldn't be surprised. Like literally, you got Tennessee, Detroit, Green Bay, New York, New England, the Jets. Any one of those teams, wide receivers can start falling off. The only one I wouldn't think would be Green Bay, but Green Bay can still take a wide receiver. I believe they're more into the tight ends, which is a deep, heavy tight end draft as well. Hold up. The pick is in for Tennessee. I'm about to be pissed. I know I am. It's going to say Zay Flowers, isn't it? Don't be playing with me. Oh, okay. The wide receiver run doesn't start now. The offense alignment run starts. That is the third offense alignment off the board. Peter Skoronski was selected by the Tennessee Titans. So, and I know there's been a lot of Chiefs Kingdom saying a few positions the Kansas City Chiefs should trade up for, whether it be wide receiver, offensive tackle, or edge rusher. Now you're starting to see the linemen come off, which the Kansas City Chiefs, they're not going to trade up this high. It would just be way too rich to get up that high. So if they want to stay at pick 31, I don't know if a lineman will be there now that they're flying off the board. So they may focus in round 1 on edge rusher or wide receiver, or something I've been preaching this whole time is defensive tackle. And if you focus on defensive tackle, I believe you stay at pick 31 and get a guy like a Mozzie Smith and just or a Kalasia Cansey as well. I think they will be there. And I think that's what you need. So who's on the board now? New England. This is the pick I'm actually more worried about than anything. New England's the one who's been rumored the most about Zay Flowers. And I think Zay Flowers can be great anywhere, but I don't know. Him and Mac Jones, that doesn't sound like a good combination to me. Here we go. My YouTube TV just want to start lagging now. Okay. Don't play with me. Now I got a short period. Now I really do got to focus on my phone. It was commercial break anyway, so hopefully that starts picking up here soon. Or if not, I'll have to. Right now, I'm watching it on NFL Network. If anything, I got to transition and go to ESPN and see if that works for me. I was like, I better hope I. Yeah, I was like, Everything's still working for me. I was like, my Wi-Fi connection better still be on. Yeah, no, just stoppage in the break. Okay, gonna play with my emotions a little bit while I'm trying to watch the draft. Maybe I should switch over to ESPN and see how that shakes out. See if that actually picks up. Yep, ESPN picked up for me. So NFL Network, you ain't want to work. We'll find another option to get to. So Lions on the clock. This worked out perfectly for the Lions. Everyone was anticipating the Lions to get Gonzalez to add a cornerback, whether it be Gonzalez or what Witherspoon. And now Gonzalez is there at 12. You literally traded 6 spots back, and you can still get your guy. Lions, they doing something right. They gained picks and still got their guy. Well, I don't know. I'm assuming, but if that's someone they really wanted, he's available for the taking. It's funny now. I got to get adjusted to ESPN. I was watching the ticker go down on NFL Network, and now it's in a different fashion on ESPN. I don't know if I like ESPN like that right now. NFL Network better start kicking it up. I don't know if this is a new report coming out or what, but an update on the DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals GM came out and said that he doesn't foresee them trading DeAndre Hopkins. I don't know if that's a rumor or not. I don't know why the GM would come out right away unless someone caught him after the draft room, but yeah, I believe ESPN is farther behind the NFL Network. If I can, I'm going to try to refresh this and see if NFL Network pops right back up for me. They just announced the Peter Skoronsky pick. They build an O line, but for who? We'll find out. Maybe they trade back into the first round for a Will Levis, Hendon Hooker. We'll see how that all breaks down. But we've been hearing Tennessee has fallen in love with Zay Flowers and that they're going to get a quarterback. They didn't do that here. So they might have been the king of smokescreens. Ain't no way. And y'all say running back shouldn't be taken in the first round. One, the Lions with the shock of the draft. I'm trying to wrap my head in that. The Lions selected Jahmyr Gibbs at pick number 12. I'm like, I know they lost Jamal Williams. I know he had 15 touchdowns for you last year, but you still got DeAndre Swift. Interesting. I don't know if I like that pick for the Lions or not. I like Jahmyr Gibbs, the player and the running back, and y'all thought the Kansas City Chiefs were crazy to like Jahmyr Gibbs. He was slotted at number 12 to the Lions. I did not see that one. I did not see that one at all. What? That's That's stunning. Like I said, I like Jahmyr Gibbs, but not at 12. And I don't know if I like him to the Lions. The Lions are one of those teams where I feel they're on the up and coming. I don't know how I feel about this Jahmyr Gibbs pick. I don't believe it was a good pick. Jahmyr Gibbs is a good player, but when you get him at the 12th pick, you're basically telling DeAndre Swift he's going to be our workhorse. You're going to be that complimentary back, which is kind of vice versa. He was splitting the load with Jamal Williams, and Jamal Williams was getting more of the goal line carries. But when DeAndre Swift was in there, you could tell he was their main focal point. So there could be a change in the backfield now for the Detroit Lions. They're about to announce it. I'm interested to see how they react. You just hear a bunch of wows. That's crazy. Like I said, I like Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't love him though. Apparently the Lions do though. All right, the Packers are on the board. We gonna get one of the first probably happening here. Is it gonna be a wide receiver? Is it gonna be a tight end? They have Jackson Smith and Jigba there. If you want Jordan Love to be successful, you can't do what you did to Aaron Rodgers. You need to get the dude weapons. I know it's been projected mostly tight ends to the Packers, but you got Christian Watson, you got Romeo Doubs. If you draft JSN, that is literally a number one wide receiver. I'm all talking like, hey, it hasn't happened, and they probably made the pick. Twitter is losing their minds that the Lions took Jahmyr Gibbs, and I don't blame them. No one saw this coming, and y'all thought it was nuts that I mentioned the Chiefs to trade up from 31 to 25. He was never going to see the 20s, apparently. I don't know. I don't want to call Love trash just yet. I don't know. I want to see him play a full season. He's going to be interesting, and if he is trash, I guess that works out for the Packers, right? I mean, next year's draft class, if Love stinks it up, they could be in the running for a Drake May, a Caleb Williams, and then you get one of them guys. But I'm intrigued to see what Love can do. I know there's been question marks on, hey, he's not looked any good in camp, and we've heard that he has progressed a little as well. So I don't know how that's going to shake up, but I don't want to put that label on him yet. I'll put it on him after like week 4 or 5, though. I'll be in there with you. If he starts like throwing picks galore, like I remember what was it, a couple of years ago when he played the Chiefs filling in for Rodgers. He didn't look bad, but he didn't look good either. He basically kept him in the game, but that was at a point our offense was struggling and our defense was doing its thing, which that's the Kansas City Chiefs inconsistency. First half of the season, offense may be booming, and then the defense goes nuts. They need to click all in one. I'm gonna get off this ESPN and see if my NFL network. Yes. That's what I wanted to see. The pick is in for the Packers. Is it gonna be a tight end? Is it gonna be a wide receiver? We know it ain't gonna be a running back. It's funny now, all Chiefs fans. What I was mentioning to, not to that extent, but now they're all like, "Go trade a 5th round for DeAndre Swift," which hey, I definitely would. But it's funny. It's like we don't love running backs in the 1st round, but hey, we'll take a running back still. It just depends on the value, which I understand. I would take DeAndre Swift for a fifth though, but I think the Lions want to focus more on being a run first team, specifically with not having a true number one wide receiver with now Williamson being out for majority of the year. Well, not majority, but 6 weeks. They're not going to depend on Goff to throw to who's out there now. Who's their number one receiver? Did they bring Marvin Jones back? But yeah, their receiver core is slim. That's why I thought they may have went wide receiver. But hey, they saw something in Gibbs that a lot of us didn't see at number 12. All right, Packers, come on, give me the scoop. Wow. I'm not mad at what the Packers did, not whatsoever, but I am hoping the board keeps shaping this way. So the Packers took the pass rusher out of Iowa, Lucas Van Ness. He's going to be a solid pass rusher in this league, and he's going to be great. And a lot of people thought he was going to start sliding down boards, but Packers got themselves a playmaker, and still no tight ends, still no wide receivers, and Green Bay still does not believe in drafting those in the first round either. Well, yeah, I was going to say, did they draft Watson in the first round last year? I think that was second round. But yeah, so New England, the pick a lot of Chiefs Kingdom may be dreading. Is this where Zay Flowers falls off the board? Honestly, if I'm New England and what New England does best, and I feel like I said his name almost with a lot of teams, but New England knows how to mature and make DBs. Go draft Gonzalez. It's what Bill Belichick is good at. And I'm just saying that because I want to see this wide receiver board keep pushing down. You're right. New England does need a quarterback. And I don't know if they really don't believe in Mac Jones like that. We heard those crazy reports that they tried to push him. Hold up. Oh, they just talking about the Packers. I thought he was breaking some news about a trade. I was like, yeah, get New England out of there. But yeah, we had the reports that they don't believe in Mac Jones or anything like that. And we'll find out if that's true, if they want to get a quarterback here or maybe trade back a little bit or they get them weapons. I'm hoping for the quarterback, though. It's crazy how good this board is shaping up. It really is. If the Kansas City Chiefs really want to trade up, they can be in play for someone at like the 18 to 22 range. They really can be. I say that now, and then New England screws everything up for me. Didn't no New England? I wouldn't be surprised if they add a wide receiver. Honestly, I just don't know who. Did they add one in the offseason? I'm drawing a blank. I know they've been rumored for everyone, but they haven't really gotten anybody. Come on, give me an update. Give me something. I wonder if the Chiefs pull what they did last year. They're not going to trade up this high. But let's say Gonzalez keeps sliding down the board. Let's say he gets the 18 range. Do the Kansas City Chiefs add another cornerback? I wouldn't be mad at that either. I really wouldn't be. We don't talk about it enough, but we all love L'Jarius Sneed, and I hope Sneed stays a Kansas City Chief. But with contract extensions coming up and things like that, we know Brett Veach likes to address needs before they actually become an issue. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't know how far Gonzalez has got to. Ooh, we got to trade. The Steelers. Okay. The Steelers got to take Gonzalez, right? They got to. They got to. I mean, who else? Is Skoronski still? No, he got taken, right? He got taken by the Titans. No, he didn't. Darnell Wright did. Is Skaronski still on the board? See, I'm losing my mind. I know Steelers need linemen. Oh, so I must have missed it somewhere. So there so I gotta assume I just drew a blank. Okay, thank you, Adam. Thank you. I drew such a blank. I don't know why I thought they took Darnell Wright. I knew they took okay. So they're saying that the Steelers traded up for Broderick Jones. Okay, perfect. Now we're getting my head clear. That makes all the sense in the world now. Um, they're saying Broderick Jones to the Steelers, and that's what happens in this draft. I don't know if you typically trade up for Broderick Jones, but with the run of offensive linemen and when runs and positions go, sometimes you got to get where you need to get your guy. I don't know if it's Broderick Jones, but Steelers do need an offensive lineman. And it's crazy. Now, if the Jets want to add a wide receiver, which they really don't need to, but Rodgers can get any weapon he want to get in this draft. Tight end still available, wide receiver. Literally, none of those offensive playmakers have been taken. With the trade, the I guess it's just values. I don't know how values change, but the Patriots just got a fourth rounder out of it and swapped spots. I don't know if that's yeah. I don't believe the Jets would go wide receiver either, but I don't. Who they got Garrett Wilson. I know they just signed McCole Hardman. They got Alan Lazard. They still got Corey Davis on the roster. Yeah, they definitely don't need wide receivers, but I guess you never know in this draft, right? They did. The Steelers went with Broderick Jones. They need a lineman, and when you're desperate for a position, you'll trade up for a guy. I don't know. Maybe with the run, it makes you go trade up for, but I feel like Broderick Jones might have been there at where the Steelers were. But I get it when that run starts, you got to get in where you fit in. And the Steelers had a terrible O line last year. Isn't it crazy? We're just only on pick 14. Feels like we've been here going to discussing this all night. They got their O lineman. You need to keep your quarterback upright. And when you got your quarterback of the future in Kenny Pickett, whether he be the greatest quarterback or not, that's what the Steelers are invested in. You go get your dude. And you got to make sure you protect him. And that's what they're doing. I wonder what the Jets can do here. The Jets can go tight end. Maybe they go tight end. You got Mayer out there and you got Kincaid. I'm trying to really, or again, I'm just gonna say it every pick until he gets selected. Partner Gonzalez with Sauce, even though I think they got a good DB on the other side. But shoot, you can never have too many DBs, right? Yeah, they're showing how that's crazy how I know it wasn't a big trade from 14 to 17, but to only give a fourth round pickup for that, that ain't bad at all. That ain't bad at all. Trying to I'm curious who the Jets go here. There's no updates on the Jets. I thought maybe I was slacking a little bit, but no. Rich over here talking, hyping up his Jets. Good time for him to be excited. I mean, you got Aaron Rodgers. You got one of the best defenses in the league. You got some firepower. You hope to make some noise next year. It's a good time to be a Jets fan, I assume. I don't know what Aaron Rodgers will do. I expect him to still get the Jets like 10 to 11 wins, but I don't expect a Super Bowl run. Well, in that division, probably the one of, if not best in the NFL. You got Miami Dolphins, who are up and coming, got a lot of talent. Buffalo Bills, who we know are contenders every year. You got the Jets. And to say New England may be the worst team in the division, they could probably contend in most divisions. So that's a very stout division. Let's see who's on the board. For I would say a good fit for the Jets, maybe Nolan Smith, pass rusher. I wouldn't be surprised if they just stick on the defensive side of the ball. There's still a lot of talented players out there. You got Kincaid, Gonzalez. They still show Levis. You got Mayer. You got every wide receiver basically. No, actually every single one. Jackson Smith and Jigba, Zay Flowers, Quentin Johnston, Jordan Addison. If the Chiefs want a wide receiver, it's shaping up pretty good. The Jets are taking just they still taking their sweet time on this. I don't know if they trying to trade or what. Come on, Jets. People is moving. And Jets over here just chilling, like, hey, we gonna take up all 10 minutes. Come on. I'm trying to get any updates I possibly can. And it's literally just legit. The Jets just they chilling. They chilling. They gonna eat up all this clock. They showing the Jets pieces right now. Rodgers, Brees Hall, which Brees Hall, unfortunate injury last year. He could have been rookie of the year. They got Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, and Conklin. Conklin can become a better player with Rodgers at quarterback, but uh, I think the two tight ends in this draft is an upgrade over Conklin. But man, Jets, you just wanted to make this draft longer than it had to be, huh? Yeah. They literally got a minute 34 left on the clock. So they got to pick here soon, right? They got to pick eventually. Maybe they trying to trade out of this pick. Who knows? Oh no, they clapping. Yeah, they made a pick. Who'd you make? Who'd you make? Who'd you take? The words getting jumbled up. Yeah, 60 ticks, 60 seconds, and then the Jets pick will be in. They took the whole clock. I guess kudos to them. Here it is. The pick is in. Now that it says it's in, Twitter knows it. I know you do, Twitter. I'm glad I'm not the only one. People saying the Jets don't care about my time. They don't. They truly don't. Come on, Jets. This better. Jets fans, they're showing Jets fans are ecstatic. I I am surprised. I ain't getting no updates on social media or anything about the Jets pick. Whoa. I got an update on they pick. That's I heard a lot of people say that he's going to go higher than people anticipate. They selected Will McDonald. A lot of people thought he was going to be there for the Chiefs. And one, the wide receiver board is shaping up great. But man, Will McDonald, I didn't see that coming. That's a huge stretch. I know a lot of people were saying, specifically analysts, that he's going to be taken sooner, but not that soon. Not 15. I don't know if it's more shocking than Jahmyr Gibbs to the Lions, but McDonald. But he has shown, like, he had a video that came out yesterday where he jumped over an SUV. That was ridiculous. He is definitely athletic, but people not question. He's older for a rookie coming out. Just a very interesting pick. Very interesting pick. I know. I can't believe they got like Will McDonald. Like I can't believe it. Like that was that was a projection that a lot of mock drafts had the Kansas City Chiefs getting at pick 31. And the fact that that's how these drafts switch up like crazy. Adam, now you say he's going to Washington. Is this a projection or am I that far behind? And that's crazy too. Just to think that Will McDonald got taken off the board and you still got like Nolan Smith out there. I was like, that's crazy. I would have went with Nolan Smith for sure over McDonald. All those Chiefs trade. A lot of Chiefs Kingdom is literally saying that they would like to see DeAndre Swift traded for like a fifth round pick. Again, I wouldn't be mad at it, but that's crazy. Snyder is still the owner, so he can definitely sabotage them. He could he could draft a quarterback too. That's cool. That's cool. They have one of the Make a Wish kids making the selection for the Jets, and he's hyped. That's cool to see. That's cool. I was like, what is that noise? I got a storm coming in over here. I was like, what's hitting my window? It's the rain. So Washington. I would like Gonzalez here too, like you mentioned, Adam. I really would, but and I think it would actually be a really kind of good fit as well. I think at this point, whoever gets Gonzalez is like one of the biggest steals in the draft. He was easily projected to be a top 10 pick. And what are we at now? Pick 16. That's a huge steal. That is a huge steal. They just showed McDonald jumping over the car, doing backflips off the wall. Yeah, he's a freak athlete. They just showing everything he's doing. That's nuts. Like he had his hand on the car, but he kind of cleared the car. All right, Commanders, what you doing? Whoa, another surprise. Even though I saw his name going up the draft boards, the Commanders did go cornerback, but they didn't go to cornerback of Christian Gonzalez. They went Emmanuel Forbes. That's another one where that was another name who started coming in, like starting sliding up draft boards as closer we got to the draft. I would not think he would have went but ahead of Gonzalez, but here we are. Gonzalez is still on the board at pick 17. That is nuts. That is nuts. And New England's back on the board. Again, here's where Chiefs Kingdom will have their fingers crossed. Please don't be Zay Flowers. Please don't be Zay Flowers. But they might, again, as I said when they was at pick number 12, they might go Gonzalez. And he's fallen in their laps again. So, and also, I wouldn't be surprised if New England went with the offensive weapon, if they went tight end. I know they have Hunter Henry, but we know how New England loves their tight ends, and they have ran a 2 tight end system in the past as well. So don't count out Kincaid or Mayer here. They can easily go that direction. You know what's funny too? Detroit's about to be on the clock again, on the clock after New England, and Gonzalez is going to be there again. If they pass on Gonzalez twice, that'd be nuts. We had the Lions projected to get Gonzalez at the 6th pick. They traded out. And then when they were on the clock at the 11th pick or no 12th pick, they went and got a running back that shocked us all in Jahmyr Gibbs. And now Gonzalez may still fall in their lap. That's nuts. That's nuts. I am happy though to see that a wide receiver hasn't been taken off the board yet, because just kind of like the offensive lineman when it was at the they had that 4 in a row stretch. Once the wide receivers fall off, they will start falling off. It just depends when that run happens. Yeah, Washington, as I seen, they made their pick. They selected cornerback Emmanuel Forbes. I think I pronounced his name right. But yeah, they didn't go the Gonzalez route. I only know that because of Twitter. So mine still says the Commanders are still on the clock, but it doesn't say the selection yet. They're about to announce it. I wonder, they got of course, they love to do this when quarterbacks start sliding down the board. They got the camera zoomed in on Levis now, so they're gonna see how far he slides. He can go to Tampa's about to be picking here shortly. Minnesota too. Anything's possible. Yeah, just announce the Commanders pick. Trying to see. Yeah, Adam, I'm seeing them. I pull up my phone and I see the picks on Twitter. The analysts and reporters typically announce it on Twitter quicker than they do on NFL Network and ESPN. And I think it depends on the reporters I follow, because I think honestly all of them actually say it on Twitter before they say it on TV. I haven't heard the name Samari Roll in a minute. That's who they're comparing Forbes to. That's crazy. I haven't heard that name in a hot minute. Did they say he's 166 pounds? Damn, that's small. He's lengthy, but goodness, that's skinny. Yeah, he lengthy, but yeah, you could tell he ain't the most stockiest guy. That's crazy. That's 166 pounds. That's nuts. New England's pick is in. Time to go to the phone and see who they selected. There it is. I knew that would be a good fit. Wide receiver still not taken, and the Patriots have selected Christian Gonzalez. That's one of the biggest deals. A top 10 pick, sliding to pick 17. Like I said, one thing Bill Belichick knows how to do is make a pro cornerback. He always does it. He'll make them an elite cornerback. They go to a different team and they're garbage. Christian Gonzalez is going to be so happy he's a New England Patriot. Now, Detroit, what do you do? What do you do? You took a running back. No wide receivers have fallen off the board. No tight ends have fallen off the board. Remember, they traded TJ Hawkinson to their division rival, the Minnesota Vikings, so they can be in the market for a tight end as well. I believe one of these two have to fall off here. They have to. Like, I'm surprised it's been this long, but this is the range too. I want to see the Chiefs react. Like, I don't believe they'll get the first wide receiver taken, but once the run starts, maybe if it's like in Jigba or Flowers, if they want a wide receiver, I wouldn't be surprised they get up there. And also, you're getting towards the range where they can trade up now. Christian Gonzalez looked pissed. I don't blame him either. He looked motivated too, though. And he looked pissed in a way, not like he pissed that he got selected by the Patriots. Like he'd been sitting in the room longer than he expected. And you need cornerbacks, and that's the way New England always excels is defenses. And when you got these high-powered offenses in your division, with now Aaron Rodgers on the Jets, you have the Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen, and we see what they do in Miami. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. You need someone to lock up these dudes. Damn, I didn't know Christian Gonzalez ran a 4.38 too. That helps when you're in a division with them fast dudes. Trying to see any updates. Nothing new on the Lions yet. They just on the clock. They just waiting for it all to unfold. Honestly, Adam, yes. When I was doing mock drafts and I was thinking of areas the Kansas City Chiefs can trade up, the first team I thought about was the Lions because that's the prime area where it wouldn't cost too much capital and you can make a move and start the wide receiver trend if you need your guy. And I would love JSN on this team. I'd love JSN. I would love any of the three guys, JSN, Zay Flowers, or Jordan Addison. Come on. Give me something. And that's another one too. I keep forgetting because talent just keeps sliding down the board. Nolan Smith is still there as well. Like that could be another trade up candidate. Like we all talk in Chiefs Kingdom as well that Kansas City needs pass rushers. When do you make a leap? Adam, what's my thoughts on Johnston? So I'm indifferent. I would like I'd be happy if he's on the team. I would probably have him slotted as the fourth wide receiver behind um JSN, Jordan Addison, and Zay Flowers. The thing that bothers me a lot with him is he's a big stature dude, and I love that. But he doesn't play to his size, and he drops balls. Like I would love to see him. Like literally, you're 6'4". I want to see you mossing these DBs. I want to see you use your size. Like for example, someone like Zay Flowers, who's 5'9". I see Zay Flowers jumping over defenders, making an athletic play. I rarely see that with Quentin Johnston. Not to say he can't do it. I just haven't seen it a lot. And it kind of gets me because I'm all like, when you're that big, you think that'd be a natural trait. And it brings me hesitation a little bit because it reminds me a lot of, even though we saw good moments, but not many, of Jonathan Baldwin, where he was big, but we didn't get nothing out of him. The only difference with Johnston is if the Chiefs drafted him, and I would feel very positive, he's got Coach Reed and he's got Patrick Mahomes, and I know they'll get the most out of him. But I don't know if I would view it so highly. And if y'all hear that, that's a storm kicking in and hitting my window hard. But yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to Johnston. Just wouldn't be my first pick. Lions pick is in. Here it comes. Do they take the first wide receiver? Do they take the first tight end? Trying to see if I can get an update on Detroit. I don't have an update on Detroit. What are the Lions doing? I don't even know. So the Lions, they drafted a linebacker, Jack Campbell. I heard rumors that he might go in the first round, but again, not at 18. I'm not a fan of the Lions draft whatsoever. I don't know what's going on. Uh, I'll try to confirm that before I say it, but there ain't no way that. Did they really take Campbell? Like, I only seen one report on that. Oh, you had a Baldwin jersey? Oh, I'm sorry. I remember when Baldwin came out of the draft, people were comparing his stature to Fitzgerald, and I was so hyped. I'm like, oh, we got the next Fitzgerald, and he didn't do a damn thing for us. I was like, what? Like, he made the one play that will always stick out to me is that touchdown he had against the Chargers, and that play that he made on Brian Dawkins where he caught the ball on his back, which didn't count. Those, like, he had the potential. It's just like, what are we doing? Exactly. See from KC, I don't know what the Lions are doing. I don't know what they're doing. Like, they could have traded back for this. Like, both of their picks, they could have. I don't know what they're doing. I don't understand it. But what I do like, we're at Tampa Bay pick. Tampa Bay, will they take a quarterback? You got Levis and you got Hooker. I don't think they're taking a wide receiver. Wide receiver board is starting to shape up so lovely. Like, Kansas City, if they want one of these dudes, it's time to attack. And I think Brett Veach is liking it too. And he's just like waiting it out, because the closer they come to you, the less draft capital you got to give up. So this board is panning out perfectly. And Nolan Smith, I could see the Buccaneers doing it. I could see him doing it. I think that's the main question of the hour is, when are they going to move up? They're getting close to that time. I mentioned the 18 to 22 range. We're at pick 19. The Buccaneers pick is in. I'm surprised Jackson Smith and Jigba still on the board. I'm curious who the Bucs chose. Again, the board is shaping out lovely. They took Buccaneers took defensive tackle Kalaja Cansey. I liked him a lot. I would hope he was there at pick 31 if we would have went the defensive tackle route. But man, these wide receivers are still there. That's nuts. Even the tight ends, they're still there. I'm sorry. Pick 20. KC's got to get on the board. You got to get ahead of the Chargers. I don't see the Chargers not selecting a wide receiver. So you take one of their guys. And because the wide receiver run literally could start like now. You got Chargers, Baltimore, Minnesota. Minnesota needs a complimentary guy near Jefferson with Thielen gone. Come on, KC. This is your spot. Get there. Everyone. No one understands the Lions draft. I definitely don't either. Watch, and I'm over here hyping up wide receiver and things like that. Watch, they don't even go wide receiver round one. And how is Nolan Smith sliding down the board? Don't be shocked. Like if you see the Chiefs trade up and they're just like, get Nolan Smith. Come on, give me some sort of updates. I wouldn't be surprised if Seattle. I mean, they got Lockett and they got Metcalf. I don't know if wide receiver would be popular here either. I keep saying tight end or wide receiver. Man, see from KC. I think we're in the area. Like we, if we're gonna trade for either Flowers or JSN, you do it now. Like I don't let the Chargers get one of them because I believe the Chargers want one of them dudes. Like they want to have one of those high powered guys, specifically with injuries happening to Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I would be surprised if the wide receiver board doesn't start coming apart at the Chargers. I could see that. I think it would shock a lot of people, Adam, if they took Hooker over Levis, but I could see it. I could definitely see it. I just want to see them trade with us. The Seahawks got 5 minutes left. They still on the board. Have the correct me if I'm wrong. The Seahawks I made a pick, right? I know they traded back. They didn't trade this far back, right? I'm drawing a blank on who the Seahawks got. See how long these draft nights go? That's correct. That is correct. Cornerback. Yep. Come on, give me an update on something. I just want to see the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. I want to see them trade up. And maybe all those were smoke screens, not just for the Chiefs, but like we heard that there wasn't an elite talent wide receiver out there. A lot of people have high praise for Jackson Smith and Jigba and Zay Flowers, but it wasn't like the elite things that have been coming out as of late. And we're starting to see that with how this board is shaping up. But if you put him with the right quarterback, and we know Patrick Mahomes is the right quarterback, you can make it shake. Just tweeted no wide receivers or tight ends selected yet with like 5 dots. That makes me think there might be it might start now. And it just sucks if it starts with Seattle. Chargers would pick someone. And I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore picks someone. That could be your top 3 dudes. That's why I wanted to get in the Seattle area. I'm trying to see what Seattle might do here, and their pick's still not in. They be impatient. I don't know if they're trying to hear calls right now. I don't know if they trying to make a selection, but they eating the clock. They eating the clock. Come on, Seattle. Right, Adam. I feel it. I feel it completely. Seattle really want to eat this clock like it ain't 10:30 at night. Come on. If you're gonna take all this time, you might as well just trade it away to KC. They literally taking the whole clock. Seattle. Goodness. Damn. The pick is in for Seattle. So that is not a trade. And the Chargers are on the clock. Shit. Damn. Well, who did Seattle choose then? There it is, guys. The wide receiver run might start now. The Seattle Seahawks selected Jackson Smith-Njigba. That's tough. I never anticipated him making it this far, so I never anticipated him being a Kansas City Chief. What hurts now is I know that the Chargers aren't trading their pick to us, so they'll probably take like Zay Flowers, maybe. I would have really have loved to trade in with the Seahawks to get that 20th pick and either choose between Addison, Smith-Njigba, or Zay Flowers. I don't. Of course, this draft had to get interesting right when it gets closer to KC. All the players are left on the board, and when it gets close to KC, now they're gonna probably all start falling off. Honestly, though, I'm glad Jackson Smith-Njigba isn't with Justin Herbert. I prefer him being a Seattle Seahawks, but I don't prefer Zay Flowers being a Charger either. So the first wide receiver going to be announced off the board. It should be Jackson Smith-Njigba. Now I'm concerned who the Chargers taking now. Seattle has kind of an interesting wide receiving core now with DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, and now Jackson Smith and Jigba. That's a solid wide receiving core. Quentin Johnston, I would like him as a Kansas City Chief. I don't view him as high as I'd view like Njigba, Zay Flowers, and Jordan Addison. I think he's got more room for improvement than those guys, but it's a big target that Chiefs Kingdom I know really wants, but I have concerns that he doesn't play to his size and his hands can be questionable. But I'd be happy if we got him, but I don't know if he'd be there at 31. They need to trade up for him. I'm so curious. I'm so curious to see what the Chargers are going to do here. And also, Will Levis, is he going to be a first round pick? I don't know. I think he might slide into round two unless you get one of these teams trading back into the first round to select him. Come on. I'm trying to get any Chargers updates I can. Trying to get any Charger updates. I'm trying to wrap my mind around what the like I all I can see is the Chargers taking a wide receiver. Like they don't really got any glaring big holes like that. They can maybe tie it in too. Defensive side of the ball, I don't. They got the pass rushers and Bosa and Mac. They can get a defensive tackle, I guess, but I don't know. I don't know. I would love that. If they went and drafted a punter and pulled the Raiders from the early 2000s when they drafted Janikowski, the kicker, in the first round. That's the one thing that would be so positive that I would be in high hopes the Chargers do. Their pick is in though. I'm kind of scared to look at my phone. I'm kind of scared to look at my phone. I'm going through it slowly. Wow. I knew the Chargers were going to take a wide receiver. They took Quentin Johnston. That's interesting. That's very interesting. I don't know why you would take Quentin Johnston. And again, this is not no backlash towards Quentin Johnston whatsoever, but You got Mike Williams, who's basically the same thing. Like, that's where I thought like a Jordan Addison or a Zay Flowers would give him a different switch type of speed. But I I get it. I guess I get it because Herbert throws those jump balls, and you don't. Keenan Allen's there for another year. Maybe you just have two jump ball guys now, where Herbert chucks it up and you go get it. Interesting. Or maybe the Chargers fell for the smoke screen that the Kansas City Chiefs were heavily interested in Quentin Johnston too, because that's two big names that were coming out for the Chiefs was Zay Flowers and Quentin Johnston, and Chargers got Quentin Johnston. That really doesn't scare me as much as if they would have added a Zay Flowers or a Addison. I can be content with that. But Herbert can make anyone a great wide receiver too. So definitely interesting. I know a lot of Chiefs Kingdom won't like it though, because I know there's a lot of Chiefs Kingdom that's huge Quentin Johnston fans. John, you are correct, Adam. Johnston does got a big upside. He has a lot more questions to me than the other guys. Like I mentioned, hands are questionable to me, and yeah, he's big, but he doesn't play big like to Larry Fitzgerald stature or Calvin Johnson stature. I don't rarely see him go up for the ball. Can that change? Of course it can, but right now I haven't seen it. Who's I think Baltimore's on the clock right now, which another wide receiver could fall off the board. I'm surprised Nolan Smith is still on the board. How far are we gonna let that slide? Honestly, Nolan Smith, if Ravens don't go a wide receiver here, Nolan Smith feels like a Raven. And then there's still a lot of good cornerbacks on the board. You got Banks, you got Porter. Like if Kansas City wants to select their DB group, even though they got a lot of young studs in there, that might be a route too. I don't know if the Ravens could definitely get a wide receiver. I don't even know if like Minnesota can select a wide receiver. The Giants could select a wide receiver. Yeah, and the Bills as well. Yeah. If the Kansas City Chiefs really want a wide receiver around one, they'll make a move here. But if not, they'll value a different position. Ravens just staying on the clock. The clock just counting down too. So they either thinking about making a selection or maybe hearing other teams out and trying to get an offer too. But we was definitely talking about the range that the Kansas City Chiefs might be in for a trade. This would be the one. Did my headphone give out on me? Let's go with this one. I'm about to say. If the Chiefs do go wide receiver in the second round, I would love Mingo. I don't think Mingo will be there at 63 though. I think he's someone who has been shooting up boards. I think he could be taken or pick 50, honestly. So it's a great solid option. I think he's one of the he's got like that AJ Brown and Bolden kind of stature where he's a fun wide receiver to watch. Now my headphones want to act up on me. Hold up. Click back in. No, that's not what I wanted. Oh, it looked like I lost sound for a little bit. I gotta play around with this. Come on, connect back in. I know you kicking. There we go. There we go. Now it's back in. I'm about to say, whoa. Ravens still eating up the clock though. They got 2 minutes left. And it's funny, Odell Beckham Jr. just tweeted saying whoever gets Zay Flowers or Jordan Addison's gonna get a stud. Wonder if that's any implications of anything. There is a deep class of wide receivers this year, and I agree with you completely as well. I want to make it ready. I want us to get our guy too. The Ravens pick is in. I don't know what to tell you, Chiefs Kingdom. Zay Flowers is a Baltimore Raven. That's 3 wide receivers now. Once that wide receiver board started going, we all knew it was going to happen. That sucks. That sucks so much. If we really want a wide receiver, they make a trade with the Vikings and you get Addison. And I know, and that's another guy too. I know a lot of mocks and a lot of analysts have been projecting Jalen Hyatt to the Kansas City Chiefs at 31. That's another one too. I just don't see the hype there. Can he be good as a Kansas City Chief? Of course, yes, he can. But man, he reminds me so much of Will Fuller, and it's just way too inconsistent. And that's not a number 1 wide receiver to me. And we got our lengthy speed guy in MVS. So I don't know. I know he's also another raw guy as well that has a lot that needs to be molded into, but I don't know. Also, too, the way this is all starting to shake out as well, with the Ravens taking Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not going that route yet, but he's still available, and I think now he falls off the Ravens board. And I think now it's just between the Chiefs and Bills if they really want to go that route too. So, Adam, I feel you. I feel you. But I don't know. I don't know. Just because we feel it's so serious to get a wide receiver, maybe Brett Veach and Coach Reed see the depth in this draft, and they feel they don't got to get it in the first round. That sucks to see Zay Flowers go to the Ravens, though. Ravens have had quite an interesting few weeks. where they signed Odell Beckham Jr. Now today they get that extension with Lamar Jackson, and now you get him another weapon in Zay Flowers. They definitely making Lamar happy. What does Minnesota do here? Oh yeah, that's true. He compares himself, and everyone compares him to like a Steve Smith, and Steve Smith played for the Ravens. So if anyone appreciated Steve Smith, it was the Baltimore Ravens, and they want to maybe make Zay Flowers that too. And also, I wonder what that does for Rashad Bateman as well, a former first round pick for the Baltimore Ravens. Hasn't quite worked out yet, has a lot of talent and potential, but hey, he's still on their he's still a wide receiver on their roster too. Yeah, we all Vikings would be a good place to trade. It really would be. It's funny though, every time I anticipate the Kansas City Chiefs to do something, they never do what I think, but they always make the right call. So they know better than me. Everyone is in the same boat that we're in. Like, just trade up for Addison. Smith, yeah, Nolan Smith is still available. He is still sliding down the board. If the Chiefs don't want to get a wide receiver, and Miles Murphy is still out there as well, who was another guy who could have been projected a top 15 to 20 pick as well. The pass rushers are there too. So it's something Chiefs Kingdom wants. It's either pass rushers or wide receivers. But we still got what? 9 picks to the Kansas City Chiefs pick if they do not trade up. So anything can get happen in there. And what if, and I mentioned it before too, not saying anything with Kelsey because I do believe Kelsey has like a good 3-4 years left in this league. But what if the Kansas City Chiefs decide to do their receiving options with the Kincaid or a Mayer? Hey, they're good receiving threats as well. And you run 2 tight ends out there. I'm just saying they can find playmakers in different type of areas. So it doesn't have to just be wide receiver. They can address the defensive side of the ball or maybe the tight end position. And I would love Kincaid. If you pair Kincaid and Kelsey, that would be beautiful. I don't think they meant to catch that on TV, but Will Levis just said, "Man, this is nuts." I don't think he anticipated falling this far. They're talking about maybe Hendon Hooker to the Vikings. I would be I don't know if the I like Hendon Hooker, and I think he can probably be a better quarterback than Will Levis. I just don't know at this point. Maybe you wait to the second round for a quarterback. I don't know. Yeah, I think tight end, I think is an underrated option, but you can, as Casey and Coach Reed always does, he is always innovated. He always finds the correct game plan. He will make a good script for having two tight ends out there if that's the route they decide to go. I do have hope, and we all do in Chiefs Kingdom, that Jody Fortson will come around and Noah Gray because they have shown glimpses, haven't put it completely together yet. If they do go that route, next year would be the basically prove it year. Minnesota taking this down to the wire. They were on the phone though. They might have been on the phone with a player. And no news on Minnesota. They taking their time. I would assume they're making their selection. It's just who are they selecting? Because now we are under 60 seconds now until the next team is on the clock, which would be the Jacksonville Jaguars. Come on, Minnesota. It getting late at night here. The pick is in. Does does Minnesota keep the wide receiver market going, or do they get a quarterback? Chiefs Kingdom, you ain't gonna be happy with it. I already expected it. The Minnesota Vikings select Jordan Addison. That's what, four wide receivers now in a row? Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I don't think the Chiefs are trading up. I think they're gonna be the last pick of the draft now. Now that all the wide receivers have fallen off. Well, not all no, I think has it? Um, yeah. They'll stay at 31 and then they'll choose best player available, whatever position they find is the best player available. But also, kudos on Minnesota. Like, I think that was a solid duo. You just lost Adam Thielen. Now you add Jordan Addison and you have Justin Jefferson. That's filthy. That's Jordan Addison's going to be good in the NFL. I already know the Kansas City Chiefs are going to select someone none of us expected. Yeah, they did take it all the way down. Now, Jacksonville, this is an interesting selection too, which will probably hurt our hearts too, because I believe the Jaguars, they will select Nolan Smith. You pair him up with Josh Allen and then Trayvon Walker. I don't know if it's highly unlikely, but hey, you have a relentless pass rush. The Giants just traded with the Jaguars one spot. So whatever that means. What wide receiver available that they would want? Unless they reach for Hyatt. I don't get why I still will never understand why someone will trade one pick ahead, but they won't take a tight end because they just got Darren Waller. Interesting. Maybe they go defensive side of the ball for the Giants. Or maybe they're the ones that want Nolan Smith. Again, I'll never get the one pick trade up, but I'll never understand it. And also, too, there's always a possibility, even though it may be slim, that the Kansas City Chiefs trade out of the first round. Maybe they gather another second round pick and have double second round picks. Who knows? If their guy isn't there, who knows? They're just announcing, well, they're still with Jordan Addison, but they're just now showing the Giants trade. Jordan Addison, funny. Just is Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson going to be the best deal? He's like, yeah, for sure. All right, Giants. What'd you do? It says the Giants pick is in. Damn, see the Giants. See, when you only got to trade one spot, it don't cost too much. They only had to give up a 5th and a 7th. That ain't nothing. The Giants are taking cornerback Deonte Banks. I think that's a solid cornerback for the Giants too. I think Deonte Banks actually slid a little more than what people anticipated. Same with Joey Porter Jr. is out there as well. So these cornerbacks started taking a little slide with this wide receiver run. It's a possibility they could trade out. If their guy's not there and this board starts to slim out a little bit, I don't see Veach just reaching on a guy as well. If there's only second round value there, he can easily get 2 second round picks. Because also we all assumed that with the draft being in Kansas City, they would make us like a splash trade, and that didn't happen. So anything is on the board at this point. And as for Levis and as for Hooker, they're looking like second round picks to me at this point too. With what the board is presenting, Jacksonville don't need a quarterback. Dallas don't need a quarterback. Buffalo don't. Cincy, maybe New Orleans if they don't want to believe too heavily in Derek Carr, but I don't think they do that to him like that. And of course, KC. Unless someone trades in the first round, we're going to see Levis back tomorrow. They still just waiting to announce a Giants pick. Someone's going to get a good pass rusher in Nolan Smith. They really are. I hope it's the Kansas City Chiefs, but someone's going to get a steal with Nolan Smith. And watch it be the Eagles. Pair him up with Jalen Carter. Now they're finally announcing the Giants pick. Wasn't did the Jags trade again? The Jags, I think, just traded with the Bills too, because the Bills are on the clock. Who do the Bills want? Do the Bills want Nolan Smith? That would suck. Or they want Joey Porter Jr. Who? Who do the Bills want? Well, they comparing Deontay Banks to L'Jarius Sneed. That's cool to hear Sneed being. That's cool to hear a rookie being compared to Sneed, and shows you the growth of what Sneed has become. That's cool to see. The recognition there. That's actually really dope to see. I'm curious to see what the Bills do here. I swear, now that we're towards the end of the draft, they every other pick is a commercial now. They used to just stay on the clock and they would just keep running and running and running. Not they said commercial after each one. Yeah, at this point, there's no reason for the Chiefs to trade out. I mean, trade up. Wow. Okay. Interesting. I didn't think the Bills would go this route. Um, but they took Kincaid. They probably got tired of seeing Kincaid has had comparisons to Kelsey, and they're probably tired of having Kelsey be burning them up. So they're like, hey, let's add our own Kelsey. Interesting. I didn't know they'd go that route just because they got Dawson Knox, who's also a guy maturing, but more weapons for Josh Allen. Hey, just makes that Bills offense more scarier. The Chiefs plan is what it always is. It's take the best player available. If not, gain more draft picks. We do it a lot every year where we think we know what's best for them. And then, like last year, I didn't have them taking McDuffie. I don't think any of us had us trading up for McDuffie. And even when we traded up, we wanted to get the pass rusher Johnson, who got selected by the Jets. 9 times out of 10, they always have a different plan than what any of Chiefs Kingdom is thinking. That's why I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we focus on wide receivers, pass rushers. But for example, Joey Porter Jr., he's still on the board. If he's there and the Chiefs select, it wouldn't surprise me if they get him. Nothing wrong with it. He's a very solid cornerback, but that'd be the best player available. And that's what Brett Veach is always solid in doing. And Dallas is on the board. So I see why Buffalo did what they did, because Dallas definitely wanted one of the tight ends. So now they'll get the other tight end out of Notre Dame. That is why they did. I think the way the board is shaping up now is the Kansas City Chiefs will either draft a defensive tackle or seem like they're going to reach on one of these pass rushers. And I wouldn't be upset with it. Like I think in every video I mention, defensive tackle is the biggest hole for me on this team because they don't have anyone under contract throughout 2024. Yes, we do expect Chris Jones to be signed to an extension, but after that, there's no depth there whatsoever. So if they go defensive tackle, I wouldn't be shocked either. The Bills didn't give up much. They gave up a fifth and a seventh. And it actually shouldn't surprise us if the Chiefs stayed at pick 31. You close the show off with them. That's the first time I've seen that. Now that they're in Dalton Kincaid's home, I always knew they had a lineup of every team's hat and then they give it to the player. But literally on Kincaid's table, he has every team's hat there and they actually have it visually. Back in the day, they're just like, oh, take the hat like we've always had it. Kincaid, it's a good solid fit in Buffalo. Unfortunately, I hate to say it. Dallas, now you go take your tight end. Yep, just as I said. People are already saying that the Bills got their Travis Kelce. I think it's harsh to compare people to Kelce, but I see it on the tape and I see how he moves. But I hate to say that he would be that, but he's definitely an athletic tight end that is another weapon for the Bills. A surprising tight end that if Kansas City wanted to get, go get Darnell Washington. The dude is a truck. He would be a fun receiving weapon if you wanted to do a two tight end set. Now, do you view him as a first round pick? That's up for debate somewhere else, but he wouldn't be available at pick 63. So if you view him highly, you got to get him at 31. Cowboys just taking their time. I was hoping to see if they got their selection in. I was really hoping to see if they got their selection in. And also too, just focusing on the Kansas City Chiefs at pick 31, there's still great players on the board, specifically on the defensive side of the ball. You got Nolan Smith, which if he's there, Miles Murphy, if he falls there, two great pass rushers, Joey Porter Jr., cornerback, and then you got Harrison, the lineman that a lot of people have been projecting into the Chiefs as well. But we are 5 picks away, so it is getting close. That's for sure. The Cowboys don't even look like they're doing anything in their war room. They do this on purpose. I swear they do. They just chilling and like, well, we'll get on the phone with 20 seconds left. Jerry Jones always gotta make it about him. Still no update with the Cowboys. They literally doing what I said they doing. They just literally chilling there. Okay, now they clapping. It, it sh- it's got to be the tight end out of Notre Dame. It's got to be. Unless, well, no. Mm, I was gonna say maybe Nolan Smith, but you got Demarcus Lawrence and Micah Parson. I don't see that. All right, Twitter, let me know. Let me know who they got. Oh, Twitter don't even know yet. See, that's that's how that all shakes about. Come on, just announce they pick. We know it's the tight end out of Notre Dame. I really don't know that. That's an assumption. That's the only pick that I haven't been told at the moment. Wow. Okay. I mentioned it for a reason. The Cowboys did take edge rusher Nolan Smith. I thought maybe because they had Demarcus Lawrence that they wouldn't do that, but they did. So There's another pipe dream gone for the Kansas City Chiefs. It happens every year, though. I mean, literally, when you contending for Super Bowls and you got to wait this late in the draft, players will unfortunately fall off the board. I'm surprised that Cowboys didn't go tight end here. I literally thought they would. Maybe they don't like Mayer the way that they liked Kincaid. It's kind of surprising, honestly. Goodell coming out to announce the pick. Wow. Twitter let me down. Twitter let me down. Well, I know not to listen to that guy no more. He said with pick 26, the Cowboys select edge Nolan Smith. Well, what happened? Oh, now the tweet's deleted. Honestly, I would have loved Mozzie Smith though too with defensive tackle. I wonder why Nolan Smith is falling down boards like that. The Jaguars officially back on the clock. Will they trade out again? What the Jaguars have traded like 3 times in this draft already within the 20 picks. I will say though, with 3 picks away to go from Kansas City, the fact that Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy, and Joey Porter Jr. are still on the board, unless they don't get picked in these, I believe one of probably a couple of them will be gone. I feel the Cincinnati Bengals, if they wanted to, they'll take a tight end here. Still on the board, maybe Washington as well. The Saints may be your Nolan Smith guy. The Jaguars are already in. Hopkins can still be an option. His contract is a little bit much right now. He did say he's up for a contract. He's down to renegotiate his contract though, so it depends on how all that unfolds. Even though Kansas City is still very slim against the cap, the only way to create cap space is to extend Chris Jones. And I don't see them just extending Chris Jones to bring in another player. They'll extend Chris Jones probably during the summer, hash out a deal in June or July. But just to bring DeAndre Hopkins in, I don't see him opening space just for that reason. But who knows? I'm not no GM. All right, Jacksonville. It says the Jaguars pick is in. I was hoping to get an update on that, but I didn't apparently. I can see honestly with the Jaguars starting left tackle now being suspended, and then they lost their right tackle, who's our new left tackle. They can get a left tackle now. Oh yeah, Jags are on the clock. Did I accidentally say Panthers? My bad. And I called it. The Jaguars select Antoine Harrison, left tackle. It makes too much sense for the Jaguars. You got one of your tackles suspended, and you just lost one to the Kansas City Chiefs. That's now our future left tackle. So they need to shore up that line, and that's what they do here. And now we're 3 picks away. The board on the defensive side is still looking very, very promising. The Cincinnati Bengals are on the clock. But yeah, that's the main thing too. The Jaguars were last year. You need to keep Trevor Lawrence upright. That's the main thing. If you don't keep him upright, it could be a long season, and last thing you want to do is get your franchise quarterback hurt. They're not going to do that. So it's a smart pick by the Jaguars. And also, what they're mentioning here too is Brian Branch would be a sneaky option for the Kansas City Chiefs. He plays multiple positions in that DB room. He can play safety. He can play cornerback. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chiefs are like, let's get us another versatile cornerback. Jaguars are about to have the pick announced of Harrison. Now, get Cincy out the way. Cincy, again, that's another one. I wouldn't be surprised if they select a tight end. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they even select a cornerback. Um, or they could select Branch as well. Because they lost Jesse Bates. That's a huge hole. And I believe they lost another safety as well. Cincy's DB room could be a little slim. I wouldn't be surprised if they address that. Yep. Harrison was a popular pick for the Kansas City Chiefs, staying at pick 31. Board the board is starting to fall apart a little bit, but there's still guys, and we are only 3 picks away. Come on, Bengals, hurry up. Make the selection. Their pick is actually in. Okay. It's showing, unless I was lied to again, but the Cincinnati Bengals have selected Miles Murphy, one of the defensive tackles we've been talking about that we didn't think would slide this far. The Bengals may have gotten a steal here. I think he's a solid pass rusher. I would have probably went with Nolan Smith ahead of him, but again, when you have a guy who's projected a top 15 pick, you go get him. And now we're 2 picks. We're 2 picks away from KC. And I can feel the next 2 guys I want could be taken off. I feel like the Saints can get Joey Porter Jr., and then the Eagles can get Nolan Smith. And then we see what Veach does. Chiefs Kingdom getting loud with those boos for the Bengals. That's become a true rivalry over the years. And that's the thing. I don't think that the Kansas City Chiefs might, if Nolan Smith is there, they might pass on as well because Nolan Smith doesn't really fit Spags. Spags like those bigger pass rushers, and Nolan Smith is that speed dude. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nolan Smith is still on the board and they pass. But who knows? Who knows? We thought Trent McDuffie didn't fit this scheme either, and that failed to be wrong because we all thought Spags wants his lengthy, longer cornerbacks, and McDuffie doesn't fit that. But apparently, he's one of the best ones out there. Oh, what, DeJuan Jones? Jones is interesting to me. I think that would be kind of a reach. I would understand it, of course. I think Harrison would have been the last offensive lineman I would have been focused on in the first round. But if they do want Jones, I completely understand it. Yeah, I think cornerback. I think cornerback is such a sneaky option because Brett Veach always looks into the future. At this point, I'm open to anything. I even wouldn't be upset if the Kansas City Chiefs traded out of the first round and had 2 second-round picks. If I had to focus on it, I'd like Joey Porter Jr. first, then probably Nolan Smith. Those are my 2 main guys, and then I would take the tight end out of Notre Dame, Meyer, because all the top receiving options are gone. So you could still get a good receiver that plays the tight end position as well and run 2 tight end sets. It's what KC actually tries to do now with Noah Gray and Jody Fortson, but I think it would be a more immediate impact because they compare Meyer to a Mark Andrews, which it's just a comparison at the end of the day, but it's still a good receiving threat. Oh, Adam. Yeah, yes. If Darnell Washington too. Yeah. If I would not be upset with that pick whatsoever. I would actually probably prefer that one over Meyer. I like Darnell Washington a lot. I think he would cause havoc in this offense. The way he just runs over people and how big he is so unfair. Saints, you don't need to be wasting the time like this. And people also mentioned too, which I seen a little bit on him, but I don't know too much. Luke Musgrave, the tight end as well. He's also a good athletic tight end. I think I don't people have him rated ahead of Washington as well. But that'd be a good receiving option too. I think tight end position is a very, very deep and sneaky class to where you can get immediate production out of. The Saints literally want to make my night longer. They make it long as hell. Okay, here we go. Now now they make their selection. Okay, the Saints. That would have been another interesting one. I just don't know if it would have been a selection I liked a lot, but the Saints took defensive tackle Brian Brisset um, out of Clemson, right? Yeah, which either Nolan Smith is going to be there or Joey Porter Jr. going to be there. Going to be interesting. I know Kansas City probably won't get any of those guys anyways. So Philly, they're probably going to pair. They're going to pair up. I believe they're going to pair up the Georgia boys. I'd be shocked if Nolan Smith goes past here. People were even projecting that Nolan Smith could have went to Philly at pick number 10. We're officially one pick away from the Kansas City Chiefs being on the clock. They made us wait the whole draft for them to trade out. Watch. All right, Philly, make your pick. They could trade up one spot. It would be worthless at this point. They could trade up one spot for sure, but teams have done it today. I'd be happy with Meyer. I would be happy with Darnell Washington. I would even be happy with Luke Musgrave as well. Any one of those tight ends, I think, would be immediate impact starters on the other side with Kelsey. That would be so much fun to watch. I'm interested to see what Philly does too, because then if they don't get Nolan Smith or if they don't get Joey Porter Jr., Kansas City might want to address the defense, and I wouldn't be mad with it. Eagles just don't eat up all the clock. I'm just excited. We actually almost to the Chiefs pick. We thought we would have picked way earlier by now, but hey, we one pick away. Literally 6 minutes if the Eagles eat up all the clock. Yeah. Eagles, they like their Georgia Bulldogs. They took Carter today. They took one last year. And they could take Nolan Smith here. Howie Roseman just chilling there. And that's right. Rich Eisen and they also drafted N'Kobe Dean in the later rounds, like in the third round. Nolan Smith is the Eagle. They love their Georgia guys. There's no question about it. And that's crazy. Nolan Smith was projected on most mocks to go 10 to the Eagles, and now they could take him 20 spots later. That's nuts. Philly, just make the pick. Okay. Come on. Someone said the Eagles made they pick. Who'd y'all take? There it is. Yep. It was too obvious. It looks like the Eagles did take Nolan Smith. The Eagles love their Georgia Bulldogs. But with that, the Kansas City Chiefs are on the clock. They will probably take someone that might upset Chiefs Kingdom watch. It's going to be someone we don't expect. Yeah, the Eagles are crazy with their defensive line. It's like all Georgia Bulldogs going to be at this point. What they got Jordan Davis from last year. They got Fletcher Cox. They just drafted Jalen Carter. You got Brandon Graham. You got Nolan Smith now. It's the reason why they went to the Super Bowl. They know how to get after the quarterback. I'm waiting for the Kansas City Chiefs to make a pick that would upset Chiefs Kingdom. But there's players on the board that are very interesting. There's still Joey Porter Jr., all the tight ends I just mentioned as well. You still got some pass rushers too, that we mentioned that have been later round picks. Or they could trade out. It's funny being on Twitter and just seeing all the Chiefs fans so upset that how the draft board went. If the Kansas City Chiefs really wanted someone, they would have traded up and got their guy. They're playing the board the way they want to play it. Tyler, I can't disagree with that. He is definitely the GOAT. Most definitely. Adam, yeah, a lot of people are not a big fan of White. I do believe that would be a reach here, but I hope not. That would bring me memories of like the Breland Speaks days. But hey, Breland Speaks, he's out there balling in the USFL. Okay, Casey. Man, Speaks, yeah. That was a questionable move. None of Cheese Kingdom believed in, and it never panned out. But he over there like dominating in the USFL. I'm seeing some of the sacks he's making. I'm like, damn, you couldn't do that in the NFL? Okay, Casey, just give me something to make me feel a little good. Nothing to get me upset. Even though I don't know what pick would do that. I don't know what pick would make me upset. Even like I've been talking stuff about Jalen Hyatt and all of that too. I wouldn't be pleased with it, but they can get the most of his potential. Um, yeah. I don't know. I will always try to look at the bright side of any pick that the Kansas City Chiefs make. Honestly, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if they went with a Joey Porter Jr. or a Brian Branch. And that's just because of the question marks that surround L'Jarius Sneed next year. Do they got Mama Kelsey announcing the Eagles pick? Oh, come on. Of course, they're going to prolong this part. They're over here promoting the Sunday ticket on YouTube TV. Nolan Smith, yep. We like as we discussed, that's crazy. They got a Georgia defensive line. Okay, Kansas City. I wouldn't be surprised if it's cornerback or tight end. They can go with DeJuan Jones. I just feel like that'd be a little much of a reach, and I don't know about that. Mahomes in that second half of the Super Bowl was clutch. Like what he did on one leg and played near perfect football, only had one incompletion, and that was a throwaway. Yeah, he played absurd. He played out of his mind. I'm over here scrolling through Twitter so slowly just to see the Chiefs pick. No updates yet, so they taking their time. So the way to the board working right now, you still got Porter, you got Felix, the Kansas State pass rusher, which has been a popular pick right here. Um, DeJuan Jones, Brian Branch, Hyatt, Mayer. I wouldn't do Josh Downs right here. Darnell Washington and Laporta. Tight ends. That's the big thing we've been talking about. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know. I don't know if Pitt would be calling us, but if someone wants to trade up right now to get Levis or Hooker to get that fifth year option, that could be a possibility. That's the reason the Chiefs will trade out. Eagles and Chiefs had a Super Bowl rematch, I would be all for it, and I'd be all for the same outcome. In my latest mock draft, who did I mock? Because I had like I had like 50 mock drafts. Oh, what did I do in this latest one? In this latest one, I had us trading up for Flowers to pick 20, which was actually very realistic because Flowers was still on the board. Under 3 minutes, oh, Kansas City Chiefs will make their selection. And I don't know what the Chiefs will do here. I really don't. They can go in so many different directions. They really can. Of course, that's cool to see. They brought out the Lombardis and they placed them on the stage. So I highly doubt Kansas City's trading out right now. But Brett Veach seems calm. It's all quiet in there. Or maybe we can listen to Chris Collinsworth mock draft and we draft Hendon Hooker right here. Maybe he may be onto something. A minute left. Kansas City is, of course, going to eke out all the time. And I'm scrolling through just so I don't. The pick is in. I don't know if I should look at my phone or if I should let it happen. I would like Joey Porter Jr. I really would. I think that's where I'm leaning towards. Or Brian Branch. I'm not even going to look at my phone. I ain't even going to chance it. We waited this long. Even though it's hard for me not to look at my phone, I really want to. I think Porter would be good. Man. And then you would have your two outside corners or however you want to play them in the future with McDuffie and Porter. Tyler, that's been the main question is how long does Andy Reid have to go? And people are projecting saying that maybe Matt Nagy is the next running. I think it's all depends on when he retires and who is available. But right now, just live in the moment. Come on, announce this pick. That's cool. They got all the little arrowheads going through. They got the Lombardis out. They ready for this pick. It makes sense that Kansas City stayed at the last pick because close out the night. Come on. Come on, Commissioner. Come out. Chiefs Kingdom came strong to this. And they still vibing. What is it, 11 o'clock there? Oh, thanks for blowing it. But hey, I'm fine. I'm fine with that pick if that's who it is. It's a solid pass rusher. And it's what everyone projected too. I know Kansas State fans are happy that he's staying, but also too, Chiefs Kingdom should be happy and whole as well. I live in Florida, so it's getting midnight here. And man, Uzma pick is if that's solid. You took Karlaftis last year. If you take Uzma here, Clark Hunt holding up the Lombardi. You hear them go nuts. That's what happens when you choose a K State player. Oh, they even got the fireworks going off. A lot of mocks did have us. If we were at pick 31, have us pick him. He's a big, solid pass rusher who solidifies a need and can get after the quarterback. I'm not upset with the pick whatsoever. that's cool to see how live it is there. They're playing "You Got to Fight for Your Right to Party." The fireworks go nuts. The fact his comparison is to Matthew Judon. Matthew Judon's one of the best pass rushers in the league. The dude he's big and he fits what Spags wants. And then this gives Kansas City options now because now you go in around 2, 3, you didn't trade anything. So you can still get wide receivers, which the depth gets really good in rounds 2 and 3. You have so many options you can explore. It's if you were to take a wide receiver at pick 31, it would have been a huge stretch. And I'm glad they didn't do that. He's gonna make an immediate impact for the Kansas City Chiefs. And it's cool. We asked for pass rushers. You literally have 2 pass rushers in George Karlaftis and Uzman now that are going to be with the team for the next 4 to 5 years under rookie contracts. And then also, don't forget, you brought in Charles Omenihu as well. You got Chris Jones. That means you can rotate Omenihu. He's played inside and outside. Spags is going to do some fun things. This team last year was second in the league in sacks. They know how to get after the quarterback. No problem. It's fun talking with y'all on this. This has been fun going through the draft, going through round 1. I will be signing off probably here shortly, but also we'll be back here tomorrow. I will be live. I will be going through rounds 2 and 3, and I will try to do the same thing maybe on Saturday, going through maybe a breakdown of the draft. I got things to do in the morning, and I don't know how early the draft starts. So if I'm able to catch the end of the draft, we will do that. But we will definitely go live tomorrow, cover it, do the same thing we're doing here, just talking Kansas City Chief football and talking NFL football. I might even release a video in the morning just recapping the Kansas City Chiefs pick. We'll see how I'm feeling. It's midnight. But with that, Chiefs Kingdom, I'm signing out. Thank you. I really do appreciate y'all for checking in tonight. Y'all take care. Peace.